Welcome back, everybody, to Smite Prime. We're here with week 2 of the April circuit, coming at you live right here, right now on Smite Game. My name's Morty, and I'm joined by the whole Smite Prime crew. We've got Testai, we've got Solstice, we've got Jithins, and next to me here in the booth today is none other than Musi. What is up, my friend?
Not too much. Came off the back of a few Smite games, ready to watch even more as the day progresses. And especially curious to see how our teams today handle the new hotfix that landed not too long ago. 10 a.m. should be live. So, well, 10 a.m. Central Time. So, what is that, 9 a.m. Eastern Time? I'm bad at time zones. But regardless of what time it is, I'll tell you what time it's for. It's time to take a look at what we're playing for, Mort. And that's going to be the prize that we keep our eyes on. Boom shakalaka.
7,000 USD straight to the winning team. That's a pretty good amount of dinero right there, my friend. I mean, that's all for the winning team there. You fight over the first 3 weeks, 4th, 11th, and the 18th, day being the 11th, and then the top 8 teams from the first 3 weeks will make it into the closed bracket at the end. And let's go and take a look at the art shop as we make our way through our little intro we have here set up
It's
for
like
you.
when you go to like the museum, there's a little gift shop there. It's like kind of like that, right? A little Smite Prime gift shop.
Exactly. Everything you could think of. We've got mugs, we've got phone cases, posters, tumblers, the Horus tumbler, mouse pads, pillows, anything that you could need at shop.smiteprime.com. Make your way over there and find something you like and support some of your favorite local artists in the community.
But enough about the Horus tumbler. I have to tear myself away from that to take a look at the bracket that we got coming at you here for today. Ymir, you're in the way. Discordia, I can't see the name, but that's all right. Fair amount of teams here, Mort, but I'm noticing one of them is missing. I can't put my finger on it.
That is true. Clocked In is not participating this week. Apparently, some of the players have some stuff going on or something of that sort, so they can't make it for today, which means that we'll see somebody else in the finals for this week, and that'll be fun. I mean, there's a good chance that we'll see Hold That there, but looking at all of these teams, I'm wondering who's going to join them. Could it be Smoke Break? Could it be Single Bind? Maybe Oni Warriors? I don't know. I'm curious.
Garden of Sneeden, Speak No Evil team. That's kind of hype. Mushroom Kingdom's back. Let's see. We have Mind the Gap. Good Moaning. That's good. First rounded.
Great.
Will they get first rounded? That'll be something to see there. Low prio queue. You and me both. But
No kidding.
so far, pretty exciting. Yeah, there's another team I don't see there. I didn't see Witchcraft on the list there either. So that is also another big dog that's kind of not in the cage so far. So, Witchcraft is Hold That. I see now. So the boogeyman is still out and about, just wearing a different mask this go around.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's Halloween every year, right? But you wear something different every time. They like to change their names, and, that's fine. That's more than fine. But let's get our way into picks and bans as we look at our first match of the day. The Oni Warriors up against Ristic Buddies, and we've got some big names to look at here. So Solo Patrol, Panatom, Pagon Genetics, and Stewart. This is a team of all teams, but then you've got some of the more popular amateur scene names. Big Splash. I mean, we love Big Splash around here. Big Splash enjoyers. Kill Camp Kenny as well. I don't know. Both these teams look pretty nice.
I'm kind of a big fan so far. I also like some of these bands coming out here too. Hercules banned away by the Ristic Buddies, and even though he saw so many changes and just some quick nerfs, just not enough, it would seem. Just has a lot of survivability and still just a ton of damage. So that's probably why we're not going to get a chance to see him.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can do to get rid of that god, right? I mean, it's extremely tanky, high damage, a lot of displacement, so you're very easily able to pick somebody out of position. Even if they're not that far out of position, you've got the knock up and the driving strike. That makes somebody very out of position. Just throw them straight into the team and then watch their health bar collapse from there. Nija, Sobek, and Nu Wa all getting banned away. And this Nuwa one was kind of a shocker for me at first. They reworked her aspect. It can no longer crit with her ult. That was a shocker to see. Like, it's strong still. Apparently, the players have found some tech, and it's made its way onto the bans list, banning Nuwa, the Big 26. Who would have thunk?
I mean, you still get your on-hit effects from items. Think things like your Chin's Blade, your Broggies, Tearfings, things of that, order. Still get a lot of value there. So she just has a lot of damage she can throw out very quickly. Some picks that I did see slip through the cracks here, though. I wonder if we'll have a chance to see the Pele solo that has been very popular recently in the rank streets and even making its way into some competitive sets too. And there it is. Top pick for solo or troll.
Don't you love being right, Musi? and you have all the reason to be right. Aspect of Obsidian makes her just so tanky. You get so much healing, and you still keep that mobility. So much to love with Pele. But one of the gods that could handle her maybe easily would be this Honor pick. One of the best tank shredding carries in the game. And what I love about this Honor pick too is that you don't need to get to late game to get active, right? Let's say you get a little bit of a snowball in duo. Once you get 2 or 3 items online, you're able to hit as hard as you need to make a difference in the early game. I mean, if things go well in lane for Ristic Buddies duo, they can show up to Queen Naga at 15. That's a huge objective that they need to look at. They can show up to Gold Furies more often. Things like that will be a lot easier for Ristic Buddies early game.
And the Kerberos is going to help get them across that finish line as well. A lot of damage with the 3-headed puppy dog and a good amount of stuns and CC as well with that paralyzing spit and then the ultimate there too, being able to group people up. So Oni Warriors, if they don't have too many CC immune ultimates, they're going to have to rely on a beads pickup. Something else that I've noticed here too, Mort, is that the Odin is still up and available if they want to be able to pick that and have it in their back pocket to force a shell. But Oni Warriors instead, looking at a couple other picks.
Interesting. I mean, Odin is that. I would assume that if Odin ever gets out of the banning phase, he makes it first or second pick, but he's made it all the way past into the 4th round of picks as Jingwei and Newt are going to join the battle for Oni Warriors. But let's see. I mean, I want to talk about this Newt and Jingwei combo. I mean, is this maybe a Newt support for genetics, or maybe Pagon takes Newt mid? We did see that last week.
So there is some flex potential with the Newt as there's that Odin I was thinking about for Ristic Buddies. But what this Newt does, I think, the best at this point in time is mid, right? So Pagon will be able to pilot this Newt and just deal a ton of damage. Staff of Mirrodin with the double roots, double dashes. It's just a lot of damage and a lot of survivability, especially when you pair it with something like a combat blink. Also, being able to ult yourself and come down and Aegis afterwards, very strong, gives this pick a lot of safety.
Yeah, very safe pick. And on the other side, I mean, it looks like Oni Warriors are going to need some safety going up against Odin and Hecate. Those team fights are about to look nasty. A lot of big circle ultimates, and Odin's able to group everybody up in place and then to follow through. Hecate's open the gates to put them out of position, and then you've got Serve to keep them there as well. A lot of forms of engage, and Hunter's got damage to follow up. Hecate's got damage too. I think if they have a solid, solo that can really blow people up, maybe a Yorm or something like that, or Osiris, I think that team could look really nice. One shocker, though, Musi, we haven't seen Charon in Smite Prime at all. He's on the side of Oni Warriors.
The Oni Warriors have picked up the kill one. So we're playing a Wheelix. And that is also another pick that makes me go, what's the plan, right? I mean, we do have jumps in the On Her, the Odin, and the Kerberos, so the ultimate is inherently valuable, but Awilix is one of those junglers where it can kind of be feast or famine, right? Either she is able to get ahead and deal a bunch of damage and stay on top of everything and be a menace, or you kind of shut her down early and she doesn't really get a chance to be as impactful, because when you try to yoink people in who are just bigger than you and stronger than you, she loses that 1v1 potential that we kind of know her to have. So I'm kind of interested to see how Panatom is able to pilot the pick. And especially to your point with the Charon as well, I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I'm sold on the Charon in most scenarios. It feels like he doesn't have great CC. He has a root, but it's attached to a dash. He has a silence that's decent and a big wave, but not as easily applied as Kerberos CC.
Well, let's see how it goes down as we make our way into the game. Coming at you live, Oni Warriors, Ristic Buddies, the first game of the day. Never mind.
Never mind. Take a step back.
Never mind.
Talk a little bit.
Let's take a step back here. Yeah. A lot of matchups to go over here. I mean, there's the Loki and the Willix. How you mentioned that, Willix has to get online first before we start moving around. I wonder how the Loki or Willix 1v1 works out. I think the backflip stuns Loki out of flurry strikes, so maybe there's good duel potential there.
It's kind of a who blinks first scenario and who's able to initiate first. Remember that a Wheelix passive is able to give you a little bit of a power boost when you are the first one to strike out of combat. So if the Wheelix is able to initiate on the Loki, very good fight for her. She'll be able to deal a ton of damage. But if the Loki is able to find and assassinate the Wheelix, then it could look dangerous there for Panatom. One of the things that I think Wheelix does have going for them over Loki is the fact that she has a lot of mobility because of, the old jungle cat that she climbs on top of and runs around on. Especially because you don't necessarily need to... You can just dismount the cat, right? It doesn't put the cat on cooldown. As long as you don't commit to the jump, to the damage, to the ability, you can get on the cat, get off the cat, and keep moving around.
All right, now we're ready for game. Here we are, coming at you, Oni Warriors versus Ristic Buddies, right here on screen. Wait, Yarkor's low. Yarkor almost down. Wait, Yarkor's here. Where's Genetics?
What the? Genetics down. Genetics missing.
No.
Yarkor, the goat core. Not too shabby. But almost got slimed out in the beginning. Was able to avoid that. Good grouping there from Ristic Buddies to start things off. And speaking of starting things off more, you know me, I like to take a look at the old relic situation that we got here. Blink to start for Panatom on the wheel. So that does leave her vulnerable to things like the CC from Killcam Kenny, a Mez from Paris, even the Assassinate from Satisfactory. So gotta keep an eye on, just make sure that your positioning is perfect, because if you get caught out, you're very much a sitting duck. Feather Stuff can only help you with so much.
Yeah, no, exactly, yeah. That's a lot of early potential with this Awilix pick, especially with Blink online. And you mentioned that Awilix has to get online early, and using Blink to maybe make that happen, I think it's smart. You're investing all or nothing into this Awilix pick. I'd like to see where this goes, especially with the counterplay available. You can take on her right out of the air. Same thing with Serb, and same thing with Odin. And that's a huge damage ability, the 2-1 combo for Odin. It's good to deny him of that. Maybe you got to deal with the shield afterwards, but dealing with some damage over here in duo side. Yarkor still extremely low, but same thing with Inferno. Paralyzing Spit locks him in place and a pillar to block him, but Yarkor is able to walk away. Phantom Shell used, and an Impale almost took his life. Good lord, what is happening?
I mean, that is just the kill potential that Icarus and Honor are going to have. Hand in hand, paw to paw, back to back, right? You can get the pin off, the spit off, and then health bars go down. You said it earlier, Bort. You have the defense shred on each spear that Honor throws, so it's really good at taking a healthy chunk out of these early supports. And speaking of early, right? Taking a look at Solar Troll here. Might be able to find an early kill on this Odin. Oh, yeah?
Yeah, great
so,
knockout.
Pele Solo,
very
huh?
Nice. Yeah, very nice indeed, but a great knock-up from Panatom over here on the enemy side of the jungle. Pagon walks forward with one, able to get some good damage out the door. Down goes Paris, and who could fall as well. Satisfactory running for their life, but with speed buff might be able to make it out, but a blink forward after the knock-up, backflip to lock him in place, and Pagon's got a response. The final bit of damage needed is from Pagon. A second kill for Oni Warriors. Their third of the game, actually.
Very explosive start here for Oni Warriors, especially getting 2 kills to Pagon in the mid lane. Newt was already able to clear really quickly, but now with a level up, she'll be able to do it expeditiously, which should give Oni Warriors... Paris is down. Okay.
Oh no.
Oni Warriors are running away with this early game board, and I think it's a foregone conclusion that they're going to be able to get first crack at those rocks. The question is, where do you go afterwards? And honestly, you could start putting some crazy pressure on the map. Early Gold Furies, take the love over to dual lane. Oni Warriors have so much gas left in the tank here.
I say let's go straight over to blue buff and take it away from Big Splash. If we want to use this snowball, then let's go straight for his blue and make sure that Big Splash can't play the game for a while. I mean, you know how awful those stat changes hurt some of the solos without blue buff as Stewart gets ganked over. Panatom kills Big Splash over in solo, and Killcam Kenny jumps forward, paralyzing Spit to follow. kills Stewart in time. Yarkor looking for a little bit of damage needed to maybe take down Kilkenny, but the Chalice will make sure that there is enough healing done so Kilkenny doesn't fall anytime soon. And look at where Satisfactory is, taking purple buff away from Stewart. That's the greatest way to utilize. Hey, look, you're going after Kilkenny. That's fine. You're not looking at me. I'll go take purple buff. And Stewart's able to take it away and secure it.
They'll have it for themselves. But speaking of red buff invades, Pagon chilling around in this top part of Ristic Buddy's jungle might actually find themselves in a tough spot here.
Overpower and manipulate.
And maybe so. Pagon is a little out of position, gets blocked off by the Cologne. Beads utilized, followed by the dash. Will get Pagon closer to the tower and to safety. Satisfactory and Paris don't feel comfortable chasing that. Instead, we'll just go put our time into that red buff and get a little bit of safe XP on our side. Make sure our timers are up to date.
Unfortunate. If the Loki was level 5, that was a dead newt every day of the week. But
yes,
Satisfactory's had kind of a tough start to the game so far. Only just now hitting level 5 after clearing that red buff and those 2 little wandering harpies. So maybe now that you have your assassinate, you can take that over, alleviate some pressure off a big splash on the Odin pick here in solo lane. But Solo Patrol knows, is able to back up. So at this point in the game where you're probably thinking, well, Ristic Buddies is down a little bit. Are they out?
Yeah.
The answer is no. They still have really solid team fight with their Odin, but he's kind of trapped over in that solo side. We just need our scaling characters to have a chance to scale and then get some important items on like power and penetration.
Oh, big paralyzing spit from Kenny. Locks Yarkor in place. Throws up the summon sticks to maybe lock down. Kill Kenny. Good damage put on. But gravity surge to pull Kenny away. Where are you going, big dog? You're mine today. The kitty comes out on top of the street fight. Another kill for Panatom. Great gank over in duo.
Yeah, this Awilish is just getting out of control, right? We are able to get crazy value off our ultimate. We haven't been punished for this blink. Maybe Loki can do something here, but I don't think Panatom is too scared.
Satisfactory looks comfortable. Maybe we're pulling them away from the tower. Pagon just showed up, and away goes Satisfactory. Assassinate over the wall to get them to safety, but Panatom needs to hop on the kitty cat to run their way out of there because Kilkenny just showed up. Paralyzing spit off the mark. That's fine. We'll go to Firebrands and get some more XP our way.
XP, gold, a little bit of rock action for the dual scalers in your life, or even just give it to Pele so that she could just keep getting stronger and stronger in the lane against the Odin. Oni Warriors with Gold Fury up. They definitely want to take this mid-pad ritual that's spawning in about a minute or so to get those lane pushers and put some crazy, push pressure on the map so that they can wander wherever they so well please. And if you're Ristic Buddies, I think you kind of got to let that go. You have ultimates that you're able to use to turn the tide of a fight, but you are really low, really behind at this stage of the game. So maybe look for some picks.
We might be able to find a pick over here in solo. Solo Patrol uses Phantom Shell to get out of the Odin cage, dives straight under the tower, but Solo Patrol is able to take down Big Splash in the process.
Oh, no.
Maybe the healing works out for Sot. This is bad news for Satisfactory. One more knockup works their way. Satisfactory dead. 2 bodies lie in solo lane. And again, Sot is just on a rampage with this Pele pick.
Yeah, I mean, and it doesn't help that it's also nighttime, so when they are able to get the first kill, they get a little bit of a heal bump to get exactly what they need to finish fighting off that Loki. And again, Satisfactory is level 6. They've only got a Hydra's Lament, so they just don't have it in them to be able to take down the Pele. Oni Warriors survive the solo side gank and then group up for that left side Gold Fury even before the mid-pad ritual spawns. So the snowball is well in full effect here, Mort. You have a fed Pele, you have a fed Awilish, your Newt is fed. The world's your oyster. Now it's just where do you want to go?
Yeah. I think the best thing that we can do is try and put some power into duo lane because that's the one lane that's looking okay for Ristic Buddies. Every other lane, mid, not doing great for Ristic Buddies. Same thing with solo. But duo lane seems like they're holding their weight okay. We're investing in the late game, though, with this Devos pickup from Inferno. So I think that they're going to try and utilize the team comp that they built in picks and bans for the late game. Let's try and get around the EFG or maybe earlier Fire Giants and then take advantage of what we have.
So, and the way that you can kind of make that happen is you have your big stand around that Moonlight Queen Naga. So at this point, Ristic Buddies, it's about getting as much farm as you can on the map and showing up to the objectives that matter. Maybe finding a pick if you just group up and take somebody down, but this is risky.
Skyfall ready to go, looking for a lockdown onto Pagon, put in place, but uses Open the Gate. Oh no, it gets pulled by Open the Gates, and it actually pulls him to safety. Solo Troll rotates over, gets one kill. Kenny's dead as well. Over here in the right side of the map, Panatom able to take down Satisfactory. Big Splash puts down the Odin Cage, but Phantom Shell lets Yarkor go over the wall. And Big Splash lands straight onto Pagon. Do you have the damage? Sunder online, but doesn't kill Pagon. Another one for Oni Warriors. Look at the lead they developed here at the 9-minute mark. That is a 7K gold lead. This early on is wild. 13-1 is the scoreboard, and already one Gold Fury under their belts. The second one respawning soon. What is going on here, Muse?
So when you are this far behind as Ristic Buddies, one of the options that you have available to you are just grabbing 4 people and trying to jump on somebody, right? We're looking at either Solo or Troll, we're looking to try to take down Pagon. Unfortunately, Oni Warriors just grouped up to match it, and Ristic Buddies do not win the 4v4 in pretty much any scenario unless Oni Warriors maybe decide to stand still and eat, maybe 2 rotations of abilities before the fight actually starts. So it's just a rough spot to be in for the Ristic Buddies. Again, it's just about trying to get your farm on and getting ready for the Moonlight Queen Naga. As Kill Kim Kenny, by the way, is just absolutely eating so much damage right now. He's dead.
Getting destroyed by Panatom, getting chased down by Panny, uses the Wind Sprite to keep up with him. Polygon rotates over from mid lane to get the final bit of damage needed, and another kill, but this one goes to Panatom. You've got 3 members on the side of Oni Warriors with 5 kills. Oh, Sot has 4, and then 5 for Panny and Pagon. This is just, I mean, the lead is so big here.
Yeah, I think Sot's got to pick up some slack here. Only 4 kills, your teammates have 5, like... Probably not working hard enough. I am, you could be putting more work in here, Sot. Get in there. Let's see you Pele ult.
Satisfactory goes in, but hops into the boat, and then Yarkor is able to take him out. But a great paralyzing spit shuts down Pagon. A great play from Killcam Kenny. Summon sticks to counter open the gates, but gets knocked up by Stygian Torment. Down goes Yarkor. 2 dead members of Oni Warriors. And look at this, Panatom showing up, but getting shut down right after. Stewart's gonna have to hop into the air and try and get out of there, but a paralyzing spit might lock them in place. A great dash, but an even better one from Kenny. And a good stun to follow, but not a lot of follow-up. Instead, Ristic Buddies want to try and milk the map for what it's worth. Let's take some camps away from Oni Warriors. Maybe we rotate onto that Gold Fury, but there's a lot of low-health members of Ristic Buddies still.
And Oni Warriors are going to be respawning soon, so you might just have to settle for the camps there. Oh no, Satisfactory is dead. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Nuke just does a lot of damage. She's not done either.
Skyfall ready, does pull Paris, and who's there to follow? No, Beads pulled there from Paris to save their life. Solo Trolls around as well, but we're gonna go for Big Splash instead. Jump over the wall, but that's fine. I've got a Volcanic Rush ready, but Odin Cage locks him in place. Sot, you need to get out of there, but the Odin Cage falls, and Sot's okay. Let's hop into the boat and make our way towards Gold Fury.
We're going shopping, and one lone Wheelix is going to try to stand before everybody else and get pieced up and put down. So a good pick there from Ristic Buddies might enable them to defend this Gold Fury that Oni Warriors want to take a look at.
And there's 3 members, make it 4 of Oni Warriors around goal, but same thing with Ristic Buddies, 4 on 4. And I wonder how this grouping goes. I guess Oni Warriors are going to back off because I don't think they want to pull, but they don't want to give it up for free either. So they just want to show face and then walk away.
The onus is definitely on Ristic Buddies to make a move there. Oni Warriors, because they're so far in the lead, they can kind of bait Ristic Buddies into any kind of play here. Like, oh, you want to take this gold? You got to be willing to start it. We're not going to give you the chance to steal it because we don't have to do gold in order to stay ahead, right? We could just go back to farming. It's not a big deal. I will say Ristic Buddies has been doing a good job finding some good picks here. Might be able to find another one.
Wow, Bees forced out from Stewart. A great play from Kenny to set something up for Inferno, but just didn't happen there thanks to the Bees. I mean, I like the vision there. The vision was very nice, and it did pull a relic, but that's all you'll get for now.
Maybe if you can make that same rotation twice in a row, knowing that the Jingwei doesn't have beads, that'd be a great time to do it. But Jingwei's back, so Ristic Buddies will take a look at the first gold.
Oh. Gold Fury's getting burned extremely quick by Ristic Buddies, and some mistakes utilized, but Paris is able to secure it. And there's another one, the first Gold Fury for Ristic Buddies, but Panty's there for revenge. Down goes Kill Cam Kenny. We're gunning straight for Satisfactory, but able to use Assassinate to get out of harm's way. Ristic Buddies only lost one member for a Gold Fury. I'd say that's worth considering the position they're in.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's a very good trade for Mystic Buddies. Now they're able to get out of the base 50% faster, which you might not think matters too much, but really helps get you to your camps. What a good pin there!
Amazing impale into the wall. Down it goes Stewart, and Yarkor falls over here in the middle as well. Another good pick. Ristic Buddies are slowly crawling their way back into this game. Panatom looks for blood over here in solo side. Satisfactory going to give up a little bit of jungle for that. A paralyzing spit right before the wind sprite. Panatom does get stunned, but still able to jump out of there. Solo patrols around the corner, though, so Kill Cam Kenny doesn't want too much smoke. Maybe just a hit, but we'll have to back up after.
I am so curious to see what the gold charts look like through the course of this game, right? Because at one point, Oni Warriors had a devastating lead, but at the point we're at right now, Ristic Buddies aren't down too much, and it's right on time to be competitive for this Moonlight Queen Naga. This is going to be a big turning point for Ristic Buddies if they're able to keep 10 toes down and find the picks like they've been able to so far within the past 5 minutes or so, right? That is gonna be how they're able to keep their scalers relevant towards the late game, which is what they've been trying to do this whole time. Oni Warriors have not been able to keep Ristic Buddies on a short enough leash, it would seem. Even Panatom is looking pretty vulnerable.
Yeah, Sidian Torment knocks up 2, but who's there to respond? Open the gates off the mark and pulls them away from open the gates. I guess that just unfortunate miscommunication as Assassinate goes over the wall and straight for Panatom. A great kill for Satisfactory. Summon Styx is up and the Odin Cage is down. Solo Patrol looking to fight their way out. No, Solo's still in solo. Pagon getting chased down. Yarkor dead. Panty dead. Pagon to join their friends in the graveyard. 3 dead members of Oni Warriors means that the Queen Naga could be all Ristic Buddies.
Yeah, what a great time to win that fight for the Ristic Buddies, right as the Queen Naga is up, and Pyromancer as well. I like the way that they split the map here too, taking a look at that T1 tower while we take away the Pyromancer. Oni Warriors, it feels like they got a little too confident. You know what I mean? Like, you win so hard in the early game, you assume that you get to do it all the time, but Ristic Buddies have kept their heads above the water and have just started to look for fights that strictly benefit them. Kill Kim Kenny has had wonderful ultimates, great team fight presence, and a solid rotation from Big Splash there with the Odin Cage. Keep in mind, you know, the Charon and the Pele are the only ones that have that shell, and when Charon didn't have the shell available, Newt is stuck in there, so you just get a ton of value off of that. But even as we say all this, Oni Warriors looks like they will be able to walk away with the Moonlight Queen Naga, because nobody from Ristic Buddies is here to stop them.
It was interesting to see them go for a Pyro first. I mean, I guess I understand the vision and that they might have miscounted how death timers work, and maybe Ristic Buddies just didn't have the burn they thought they did. That's why they dropped, you know, Pyro and then just went back to base afterwards. So, I don't know. I feel like the Queen Naga, like you said, they're investing in this late game. You know, we want to utilize these comps that are so good for team fights. We want to operate as good in the late game as we can. So, you know, it seems a little interesting for them to go to Pyro instead of Queen Naga there.
Tower is under attack.
You could make the argument that the Pyro Bomb will be more relevant for confirming things like a Fire Giant, but I'm with you. You know, 5% strength and in scaling is very handy when you have more strength than in to have. Seems like we're kind of scuffling around this mid pad, but nobody's quite ready to make the full-blown commit. Oni Warriors maintain control so far.
Summon Styx is out, followed by the Odin Cage. Does pull 2, but able to row the boat on backward. Look at Satisfactory over the wall, followed by Desert Fury, and open the gates, gets the kill on Pagon. Summon Styx finds a massive pull. Oh, Kill Cam Kenny just got pulled. Gravity Surge locks him in place, but getting back to the team, and Panatom's extremely low. The bleed almost kills there. 28 health. Goodness, Panatom, count your days. And look at Satisfactory over the wall, maybe looking for another pick. Maybe we take down Solo. Nowhere in Biz. Going straight for Stewart. No! Wow. Great play from Satisfactory. Take one and run. That's 2 bodies dead for Oni Warriors. What can Ristic Buddies do? Panatom takes down Satisfactory, though. Great revenge kill for Panty. Can you jump over the wall, blink away? He's looking at Kill Cam Kenny. I can see the vision in his eyes, but can he get there? Going forward is Solo or Troll, diving straight for Kenny. Can Panatom follow? But Big Splash goes straight on a Panatom, looking to zone for the team. Odin Cage down, but Yarkor and Pagon just showed up and are looking for revenge. Big Splash says, oh no, I'm out of here.
Hell, Pele right around the corner. Splash has the stun to maybe keep her off for a little bit, but he's got the jump. No Wheelish there to pull him back in, so Ristic Buddies make their clean getaway. Man, what wonderful patience there from Satisfactory to sneak by Solo or Troll, go straight to Stewart, pick them off, get out of there. Really, really good stuff from Loki.
Yep.
Love that. Like, this is exactly what I want to see from Ristic Buddies, and it's what they've been doing so far today. Like, finding their pick, and then just kind of all-inning on top of them. And it helps that Oni Warriors is kind of walking in one at a time, almost, it feels like, in some of these fights, where they let themselves get separated by Ristic Buddies. The game at this point is almost entirely tied.
Revolving around the Gold Fury, 3,000 health, make it 2, make it 1, goodness, Inferno secures, the damage is massive, but a Skyfall locks 2 in place, it's Solo with Troll, Volcanic Rush into the back line, Stygian Torment locks him in place, but summon Styx, can it find some fears, in goes Kenny, Kenny's in trouble, gets knocked up and put down right after, Kenny's dead, Panatom gets the kill, but Oni Warriors are going to have to settle, again, 1 kill. This is the second time that Ristic Buddies have lost their support for a Gold Fury. A great transaction because, just like you said, it's an even playing field. This Tier 1 tower in mid lane is going to fall, but it's going to let Oni Warriors barely be in the lead gold-wise. I mean, maybe this Pyro will give them a little bit of benefit after, but the kills, they might not be even, but the gold sure is. Stewart gets Pyro. It's a 1K lead.
So, at this point, both of these teams have a great shot at looking at something like a Fire Giant is where my mind is going to next, and how are we able to take that away? One of the things that I think needs to change for Ristic Buddies that might end up biting them in the butt, I've noticed it a couple of times for these team fights. Kill Cam Kenny will ult somebody out of a Hecate ult or out of an Odin Cage. And then I feel like we lose a little bit of the value from our teammates' ultimate after the fact. So just needs a little bit more communication to make sure that we lock that in. Panatom jumps away. He's got the Magi's bubble, though. It'll get popped by Assassinate.
But good lord, it still does some damage. Panatom, less than half health, has to go back to base. Yeah, I see the argument that you're making there, because what we saw on Picks and Bans, I mean, my first thought was just, wow, a lot of big circle ultimates, a lot of big circles, but how do those big circles follow each other efficiently? You know what I mean? I feel like Ristic Buddies haven't figured that out.
But luckily for the picks that they're playing, I wonder if they almost don't have to. Like, Odin Cage is still useful, even if people are outside of it, because you have to walk around it. And Hecate ult is a solid getaway tool. We're just not finding all the damage that we need. Luckily, Satisfactory has been able to pull up in terms of damage, as Loki is super solid.
Kenny's in trouble. Kenny almost got picked off there, but a jump gets them to safety. Panatom going after the kill. Summon Styx down mid lane. Can it find a fear? Skyfall hits. Paris is dead. So the Troll gets the kill. Stygian Torment picks up 3 and takes him back towards the tower into the Odin Cage. Big Splash throws down, but then jumps over the wall to get away. Oni Warriors did get 2. Paris and Kenny dead. I mean, it looks like Oni Warriors are rotating towards Fire Giant. Can they burn this?
100% they can. I mean, you've got the Newt, the Wheelix still has their ultimate. Pele is literally made of lava and fire, so, you know, that's really solid for burning things away. And most notably, Ristic Buddies only have a couple ultimates to stand up to the fight here.
Can Desert Fury steal it away? 4,000 health on the fire. Make it 3. Satisfactory goes for Panatom. He gets pulled out of the Wind Sprite. Assassinate to get out of there. Satisfactory safe. Stewart kills Big Splash, so Big Splash not able to say the same. Stewart's able to secure the Fire Giant Obsidian Dagger in hand for Pagan. A great play for the Oni Warriors there. Not only did they get the FG, they took down Splash. In the meantime, they pulled ult away from Satisfactory. Now there's a lot less risk potential when going for camps around the map, because there's still a lot of camps for them to look at. Oni Warriors want to milk the map for what it's worth while they have these buffs.
Oni Warriors have been doing a good job kind of turning these fights around, and that instead of being the ones to get picked off, they have been the ones to pick off the Ristic Buddies. So unfortunately, it would seem that Oni Warriors will in fact pay the one in order to make sure that they can get everything that they need. I will say too, this Charon pick, I've had some time with it. I've been watching it, seeing what it does. I think, is it my favorite? I don't think it's my favorite. We all saw that, by the way, Jarkor, live on Smite game. That's all right. But what it does do is cause a pretty healthy amount of pandemonium in a team fight, especially when we are just walking up and down lanes. Uh-oh. Paris, are you...
Wait. Summon stick snipe?
Oh, shit,
No. Oh,
Okay.
Paris is okay. Goodness, I was close, though.
Just so much damage, I think, is what this Charon can bring to the table with their ultimate
Yeah.
and that chase potential like we just saw. The shields are good, but when you have so much CC from your Wheelix and from your Pele, maybe you don't need it from your support.
Check Satisfactory going straight for Panatom. Flurry Strikes applies a little bit of a bleed, then we back off right after. Panatom forced out of the fight, so we're Troll around the corner, but Oni Warriors, now that they've lost Panatom, Stewart's over in duo lane, getting that tier 2. We don't go for a fight just yet. Maybe we invest something into this mid. You still have FG buffs. I think that's fine that if they want to take a fight, it's just a matter of how they started. Solo Troll finds a good knockup. Satisfactory forced to use Assassinate to get out of harm's way. 2-2 tower falling down quick. Skyfall does a lot of good damage. Solo Troll tanking in the front line while the tier 2 tower falls. I think it's what Oni Warriors wanted. Now they back off and go for Ancient.
Just in time for this mid and left bird to be exposed to the Ancient Gold Fury debuff. So, not too bad. It's like the safe use of FG to be able to prune the towers and then go for something, but you still have it for another minute or so. Ristic Buddies wondering if maybe they can argue around this.
But fighting over here by the left side of the jungle in front of the Ancient Fury. Open the gates, does pull. Solar Troll, Sigi Torment to follow through. Takes Soul or Troll up for a ride. Odin Cage is put down. Stewart flies into the air, putting damage down from the skies, but Inferno is able to take down the Yarkor. A great kill for them. Low health bars all across Ristic Buddies, but they still find the go button. Look at Panatom going straight for Big Splash. Extremely low on health and backs away behind the team. Pagon still in the front with the Obsidian Dagger, and that's fine. Panatom still on the chase to zone away Ristic Buddies. The rest of Oni Warriors going for this Ancient Fury. It looks scotch-free.
I mean, Ristic Buddies knows better than anybody that trading your support for a Gold Fury is a good trade for the team that is able to get the Gold Fury. So Oni Warriors, taking a page out of that book, says, we'll make that trade. That's a good trade. Make that trade every day of the week. So mid, left Phoenix are wounded. These birds are cooked. And now Ristic Buddies are going to be in a tough situation because when it comes to their defense, I do enjoy, you know, the On Her Pillars, Hekate open the gates, Odin Cage, but I'll tell you what, when Solar Troll is able to just run at you and not suffer the consequences, it makes me feel like the Ristic Buddies defense will not be as strong as maybe it might look on paper. This Pele pick just does so much.
But impaled into the wall, summon sticks from downtown, open the gates, pull Solar Troll straight to the team. That's what Solar Troll wanted. He wants to kill you. Paris is dead in cold blood in front of the mid lane bird. Solar Troll is locked down. Big Splash around the side, looks for a pick, but Pagon takes him down quick time. Solar Troll is still alive in the front. Look at him taking all that damage and still breathing. The healing from this god is wild.
I mean, between the Aspect, the Spirit Robe, and the Resolute Mantle, Pele just doesn't get a chance to get to a low health at this point. Dwarven Plate as well. We have 19 stacks on that Resolute Mantle. So every time we get CC'd, we are healing so much. It makes perfect sense that Solar Troll can just do this again and again.
Yeah, the more he gets impaled, the more healing he gets as he's tanking away that mid lane tower and not even stressed about it as the rest of the team, Oni Warriors, take down the mid bird, and that's going to give a little more pressure as they dance around the FG pretty soon. I mean, Ristic Buddies are going to have to look at this mid lane and make sure they're not losing Titan health, you know?
Yeah, those pushers coming down. Oni Warriors will also have prio on the map in general because they've got their TP resets right in time for FG to spawn, so Ristic Buddies are kind of left in this kind of a terrible question to be asking yourself. Do we defend FG and potentially lose the game because we can't win fights against an Oni Warriors team with FG, or do we not defend FG to make sure that these pushers don't get through, and then we lose to the Oni Warriors team because they have FG, right? So
yeah,
kind of a bit of a rock and a hard place. a sword and a knife. You're just kind of like, I'd rather really just not get stabbed, if I'm being honest. And Oni Warriors are like, well, unfortunately, I've been studying the ways of the blade, and you are getting stabbed regardless. So, make your choice here, Wistic buddies. I'm pretty sure you'll find that it's not advantageous to you.
Pick your poison. It's going to happen either way. Ristic Buddies circling the Fire Giant pit as the burn begins. Oni Warriors take it down to a quarter, but in goes Kill Cam Kenny. Stygian Torment not utilized. Big Splash jumps over the wall. Skyfall is ready to go. Slam dunking into the back line, but Satisfactory takes down Stewart in the back. That's a good start for Ristic Buddies. Summon sticks to follow, trying to lock down Satisfactory, but it doesn't work out. The fear didn't go through. Kill Cam Kenny takes down Panatom. The Odin Cage is down, and Oni Warriors forced, like you said, a rock and a hard place. Then Yarkor gets impaled into the rock. Down goes Yarkor. Panatom's dead, but Pagon kills Satisfactory in the process. Inferno dead. That's 3 members of each team down, deceased. Pagon's on the run. Big Splash goes forward, able to hit a stun, but feeds the way by Pagon. And Pagon's fine with maybe turning this around because Solo Patrol's nearby now. But one thing is for certain, Ristic Buddies got them off the FG. That's the best thing they could have asked for.
Yeah, this could have gone, I mean, it could have gone better for Ristic Buddies, but the result that we have here is 100% something that we take home again. Satisfactory.
Exactly.
Just able to find Stewart and take them off the board. It's a very important kill to have. And the Oni Warriors dive, going onto the backline of Ristic Studies, was just not able to execute on their plan. It became such a cluster of madness around that blue buff area, where I really do feel that Ristic Buddies damage has a chance to shine because we have so much AoE to just kind of throw out and around, especially when you have the Odin Cage in the back pocket there too. So, good defense there from Ristic Buddies. Oni Warriors will take their consolation prize of an Ancient Gold Fury that won't do too much except give them their 3rd Gold Fury pip, so now we'll be able to do extra damage to jungle bosses, structures, everything like that. So when you do get a chance to take a crack at that Fire Giant and burn it down, they'll be looking pretty good.
This game has been a roller coaster, Musi. At the 10-minute mark, there was a 7K goal lead for Oni Warriors. Around the 15, 18-minute mark, they went back down to even gold between the two teams, right? And now there's an 11K gold lead for Oni Warriors. I mean, it's been so back and forth. It is wild to see how this has transpired. Ristic Buddies, you know, I looked at their team comp. We talked about it in Picks and Bans. This is a team fight comp. They're going to operate well in the late game, and they've been doing all right. They haven't been doing bad. Sure, they've lost a couple objectives. Sure, they might be down quite a bit of gold thanks to some picks and shutdowns and such. But, I mean, they're operating okay. They just pushed Oni Warriors off the Fire Giant, but now with this Gold Fury pip, Oni Warriors, like you said, they're going to be able to burn down this FG a lot faster. Ristic Buddies looking to bait them onto this Pyro. Let's see how this goes down. Solo Patrol, Volcanic Rush into the back line, going straight for Satisfactory, looking to take him off the map, so you can't go take down our back line. Odin Cage locks Oni Warriors in place, and look at Solo Patrol just scaring everyone away by himself. Goodness gracious. I understand the vision from Ristic Buddies, but Pele alone is just scaring the team so much, and Stygian Torment takes him up for a ride. Solo Patrol still alive. You're not taking him down today. Open the gates. Bob and weave from Solo Patrol. You're not getting pulled. Incredible gameplay. How is Sot still alive?
Spirit Robe, Resolute Mantle. That's about it. That's about all she wrote, right? I mean, Pele is just able to live forever. The only CC that is truly effective against this Pele is Stygian Torment. If you can't kill her in that time, it's cooked.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So that's really what it is. Chat, write down the build. This is what tanks use right now. Just full defense, and then you've got damage with your base kit. It's just so good. Like you just don't die. And look at this, a great pull. Gravity Surge after the jump. Kenny's put down in the blink of an eye. Not so tanky for Kenny as Panatom walks forward with Solo Patrol. We're looking for a pick on Paris. A great Suku throw takes Paris up, and Solo Patrol is able to find the kill, but Satisfactory goes straight for Panatom to get a revenge kill, but knocked up. Odin Cage put down. Solo Patrol might be in a weird spot considering you can't heal in the Odin Cage, but that's fine. Sot's tanky anyways. Volcanic Rush straight for Inferno. Down he goes. Big Splash looking to peel him off the rest of the team. The rest of Oni Warriors went for FG, and it's just Solo Patrol by himself taking down Ristic Buddies. What is going on here, Musi?
Pele, first pick, first ban is going on here. We don't care about owning cage. We don't care about chain CCs. We live, we thrive. Oni warriors, they never die.
That is, I can't even tell you how true that is. And down goes Big Splash, a deicide for Ristic Buddies. And a Skyfall to lock Kenny in place, looking to peel them off of this FG. But I think the Oni Warriors are playing with their food at this point. Kenny barely able to leap back to the fountain, but it doesn't matter. Your Titan dies anyway. Oni Warriors take the dub.
It was a good play from Ristic Buddies to keep themselves in the game for as long as they did, but a really good start from the Oni Warriors and a Pele solo pick that just was left entirely unchecked. Definitely put Oni Warriors in a very, very strong position here. I mean, anytime you look at Solo or Troll and they dive onto backline, you can see that the health bars just never changed.
Just a crazy pick. I would have never. I know how strong the Pele pick is. I didn't know it was that strong. I didn't know it was going to be like snowball and tank the entire team's damage and then don't die and deal a lot of damage in the process type of strong. But that's just all Solo or Troll, right? I mean, we can talk about the rest of the team too. Panatom got a lot of good things set up early. Aegon was able to snowball extremely efficiently thanks to what Panatom was able to do.
Yeah, I mean, this Newt Awelix early game was just dealing a ton of damage, especially because Awelix Panatom was just able to find so much value and wasn't really punished for not having the beads. Later in the game, they're able to finish up their Magi's, and then at that point, they just kind of get to do whatever they feel like doing. I think this fight here, this play was a bit of a turning point for Ristic Buddies, where you were able to find one pick after the other, and Oni Warriors kind of take this fight. It's a little troll IMO. I mean, Panatom is just in a really awkward position here, and Ristic Buddies do a good job kind of splitting them up. It's unfortunate, though, that Ristic Buddies weren't able to capitalize off of it too well, and this was a bit of a wake-up call for the Oni Warriors, too, because after that fight, then they really start to pay a little bit more attention. Well, maybe after that kill on Stewart, where Stewart's like, all right, I've had enough. Like, go forth, my Solo or Troll.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like a Pokemon, like I choose you, Pele aspect, and just go and take them all down. No, I think really what it was is we started seeing a lot more kills from Satisfactory, who started picking up around the mid game, and that's when the rest of the team said, okay, all right, everybody else, you go focus Satisfactory. I, Solo or Troll, will take down the rest of the team. And it worked out well. It worked out very, very well.
Yeah, the Pele 1v9, 50k damage. And 87k damage, but nearly 88k damage mitigated. Like, I think it's time to put the Pele away. Like, ban it every game. I knew it was good going into today, Mort, and I was worried I was gonna see it. And now that I see it, now everybody else has seen it. We're ready. All right, ban it. I don't think there's a good answer to it.
For any Prime players watching the broadcast, getting ready for your competition later on in the bracket, ban that Pele aspect, please, for the love of God, because that is a strong pick. But that being said, we've got more games coming at you here pretty soon. We're going to take a quick ad break. We'll be back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Smite Prime, Week 2 of the April Circuits, coming at you live. My name is Morty, and I'm here with the whole Prime crew. We've got Jithens, we've got Solstice, we've got Testai, and next to me here in the booth is none other than Musing. How we feeling, big dog?
Hey.
Okay.
I tried again.
All right.
Hey, let's take a look at that old bracket.
Hey,
you know what I'm thinking?
okay.
Hey, there it is. We got
all right,
it there.
all right.
I knew I could get you on board.
Yeah, you got me. You got me.
totally
You got me on the bracket. Where you got? Hey, you're doing too much. You're doing too much. Let's take a look at the bracket and see who's done where. We just watched Oni Warriors up against Ristic Buddies, and Oni Warriors is going to move down and take on the Mushroom Kingdom. I would love to watch that match, but unfortunately we are not. Instead, we're going to be looking at Mind the Gap versus Smoke Break.
Ooh, it should be a solid match to see with our own eyes. Take a look to see who else was able to get through the Garden of Sneeden, losing to press tab. So unfortunately, the Speaking of Evil team does not advance. Single bind versus low prio Q. Low prio Q won over McDonald's Sprite. Unfortunately, it just wasn't hitting on that day. So far, a lot of familiar names kind of making it through here to round 3. But like you said, Mort, Mind the Gap and Smoke Break. Mind the Gap being that witchcraft team that is so powerful with Sun Prod and Zapman, Smoke Break. Very excited to see them on the field as well. So I'm pumped. I'm ready to jump into it more.
I don't know if you saw the 2 matches in the preliminary. One of them still going on. 45-minute slaughter, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's still waiting for their first game right now. Can you imagine? They've been waiting for an hour. They checked in like an hour and a half ago. Probably slamming an arena game, getting ready. That's what I'd be doing. But yeah, it must be a crazy game. EFG, 50 minutes. Wow.
Burger
I
flip.
can't imagine.
Goes crazy. You know what else goes crazy? Oh my goodness. Let's talk about it. We're to acknowledge the elephant in the room. We are never seeing Pele again, right? Right.
Hopefully.
They don't even ask you if you want to play Pele anymore. They just look at you like this. Like, whoa! Lives forever with that aspect. Tons of healing, tons of damage. Because we get to build all the really good items that gives you strength and everything like that. Spirit Robe, Resolute Mantle, right? You're maxed out on Tenacity. So you don't care about CC and you're only benefiting, you're only healing off it. And she's able to dive backliners like it's no big deal. You want to talk about Boogeyman. You want to talk about top pick, top ban. She's got to go. You can't say, we cannot hang. That's not cool, man. What I saw, I don't ever want to see that again.
I love when Musi comes in hot like this. And this is because, so Musi's, for those of y'all who don't know, Musi's a solo lane main. You would think that he'd be the advocate for solo laners and say, yeah, we're not doing too hot right now. Let's get some buffs in. Odin's not doing too great or whatever else. Any solo laner I like. Musi loves to play Chalk. Yeah, Chalk. I love playing Chalk, says Musi. Love non-aspect, you get to heal your butt off and
No,
let's take a look. Let's move on down. I think you got your point across, Muse, and I agree with you. But let's get our way into picks and bans and take a look at Mind the Gap up against Smoke Break. And we've got some matchups here. Dishonored versus Banco. Layers versus Adapting. Benny Q versus Sap 7. Please, Solstice, keep your eyes on mid lane. I need to see this go down.
And you also have Wrong You versus Dardes. And I think, one of the talking points that we like to talk about is how Wrong You is new to support. They're playing different roles. I don't think we can say that anymore. Yeah. I think Wrong You has very much established themselves as a highly competent support player. Definitely somebody to keep an eye on. But going up against Dardes, the Smoke Break EU lineup, this is some of the hottest players you can get from that EU region. So pretty stoked to see if Smoke Break can mind the gap and push this other team over the edge.
So 3 hybrid solo junglers have been banned away. Pele being the first ban. I think your point was very well received because Pele was the first ban. And Osiris, Odin, Thor to join. And a lot of these gods, Osiris maybe not the best jungler, but every other god listed here does very well in solo or jungle. It just shows how prominent the front line is in the meta that we're in right now with how you said these new items that are in the game, the Resolute Mantle, your Wormskin Hide, the Spirit Robe, which is not new, but reworked a little bit. You get max tenacity, you get all this healing. Yes, there's so much to love with these newer items, and the front line is just so scary. Let's take that serve away from Dardes. Very smart ban.
And the Nua ban there too. So again, Nua with her aspect is able to just do a crazy amount of damage. Smoke Break, not really interested in playing into that. It's going to be the Newt that gets picked up first. And it's interesting, this is a pick that I think has been rising in popularity recently. Once people kind of realized that the aspect change happened, we're not building her as a tank anymore. Then we had a chance to see Newt with their full-blown damage capability, and that Staff of Mirrodin, I think, really pushes this character over the edge in territory of just really, really good.
I think what it is, it's Paul. Paul's kind of a trendsetter, right? Paul loves to play the Princess Bari. The rest of the mid laners say, Princess Bari's too hard. I don't want to learn that god. And then Paul starts playing Newt, and every the mid laner's like, all right, I could learn Newt. I could play Newt. I'll start playing Newt. Not too bad.
We can put that together. That's not too bad. But we do get to see Ardio and on her there for Smoke Break. So the animal bonanza between the bear and the lion. Now we just need a tiger to wrap things up, so a Sun Wukong pick here could make things very, very flavorful for Smoke Break. But I would assume that Artio is going to be going to the solo lane. Worth noting, Morty, recently as like today, the hotfix that went through, we took a look at Bumba's Cudgel, and Artio was an avid Bumba's Cudgel enjoyer because she can cycle through her ability so quickly. Now you don't get as much cooldown from hitting your auto after using an ability. You know, it takes a little bit off your cooldowns. They took like 0.2 seconds off of it, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for a character like Artio that's constantly going through abilities, and these cooldowns are fairly long until you get your cooldown online, has the potential to hurt her a little bit. So I'm interested to see how Benko is able to pilot this pick.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, and I think with the Boombas being so popular and the range from Artio's basics now, when you're in Druid form, you could throw range basics. You're able to proc it so much easier. And this Yorm pick too is very interesting because I feel like Yorm was very popular for some time, right? And Karmic started playing it. Everyone else is like, wow, Yorm is really good. Let's start playing Yorm. Yorm received a little bit of nerfs, and other guys got popular. Osiris, Artio, I mean, you know the solo lane meta, but Yorm kind of fell down a little bit, and few prime players kept utilizing the Yorm. Karmic is one of them. Dishonored is the other. He loves this Yorm pick. It's a big pocket pick for him.
So one of the things, too, that I like about Yorm, and I feel like a lot of solo laners might tell you this as well, Yorm is good just because he clears wave really quickly, right? I mean, that guy is able to clear a wave like nobody's business, and then after you're done clearing your wave, you can soak some damage into, you know, your enemy laner. So that's why Dishonored probably going to take a look at that Yorm solo, just because of the amount of damage that you're able to have. But also, really solid pick into something like the Ares. Granted, the Ares was picked into the Yorm. This Ares ult won't have as much benefit because Yorm just can't get yoinked away by any displacement abilities. So just kind of another added benefit to this Yorm solo pick.
You know, I do love this Ares Tsukiyomi combo because if you're up against Ares, you want to get beads because you don't want to get pulled, right? If you have crowd control immunity within your kit like Jingwei or Baron or Newt or Daji, and then you're relying on that, but you could get beads that way you don't have to use your ult. But if you're up against Tsukiyomi, you want to get Aegis because you can't beads out of Piercing Moonlight. You have to get Aegis so you don't take the damage that comes with his ultimate, which can be a lot, especially if Adapting is going to go for the Book of Thoth Transcendence combo, like double stacking and then late game just shreds health bars. You need to get Aegis. So you're forced into a rough position if you're a member of Mind the Gap. Which ult am I more scared of? Do I get both? Let's see what the answers are as we make our way into the game. Mind the Gap up against Smoke Break, the second game of the day for the bracket, coming at you live. If you're just now joining us, my name's Morty. We've got Jithens, we've got Solstice, we've got Test Dive behind the scenes, and Musey with me here in the booth. And take a look, Muse, look at the relics.
Well, you talked about Aegis. We talked about beads. I'm noticing a distinct lack of Aegis from Mind the Gap. So Adapting will be able to have a ton of fun being able to ult and make sure that as long as they hit those beams, they'll be able to get a crazy amount of damage off. But I think the shells should be able to help mitigate a bit of that damage away and offer some survivability, not only to Wrong You, but to Dishonored as well. Something that's worth noting about the difference between the shell and the Aegis is that the shell gives you that extra little bit of oomph for your health bar and still allows you to act. And sometimes that ability to still throw out damage while under duress can be a bit more of a powerful influence in a team fight as opposed to just not taking any damage at all. So Mind the Gap will have to kind of be careful about how they take these engagements. If the Tsukiyomi decides to go in, you pop your shell, you turn and burn, but if you don't have the damage to respond appropriately, then maybe upgrade it and take a look at that Aegis, like you said.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you lose a little bit of damage. If you go for Aegis and beads, it's a possibility now. You can get multiple relics in Smite 2. This, you know, relatively old news. A couple months ago, change was made, but you're going to lose a little bit of damage in the process. Sure, you do get bonus stats. 7.5 of all your item stats are increased, but you know, it's not going to be as much as getting a whole new passive from a new item or something like that. You lose a little bit of value, you know, as far as your build goes. You do get the extra relic, but, you know, That's just how the game goes. This is where we're going to see what's more important, right? Do we rely on these ultimates to give us CC immunity? Do we feel the beads? Do we feel Aegis is even necessary? Does adapting even come online? Does he get, to the late game point where he's scary enough? Look at Dardes blinking forward, followed by the chains. Did miss a chain, but that's fine. He landed one, missed the other. A great knockup, followed by the impale beats, forced out from Tuba. 50 health on Tuba's name. Goodness.
I mean, that knockup pin combo is not something you can often get pulled off on that Jing way.
Yeah.
Once Tuba hits level 3, they get their dash available and online, then Ragna won't be able to really go for that too much. But an early beads burn away from Tuba could open up this left side to a gank potential from this Tsukiyomi, who, so far so good. Adapting's been doing their playstyle where they kind of keep their farm up, like you said, taking a look at that Thoth and the Transcendence. We're just trying to hit that late game. But I know Adapting loves to brawl. I know they love to fight. So as much as they're going to be like, yep, we're scaling, yep, we're going to get there, no big deal, there's a little devil that sits on his shoulder. It's just like, I need you to go kill someone. And I need you to do it now, please. I need you to go gank a lane. I need to kill them. I need to get in there. And Adapting's like, I obey. Like, who am I to deny the little guy on my shoulder that tells me to go murder? So, very excited to see this Tsukiyomi hit level 5 and for all hell to break loose.
I understand the vision. I think the only thing you had wrong was that the devil probably doesn't say please. But other than that, I think
He's polite.
The analogy was
He's
pretty.
good company.
I don't think so. I don't think that's how he works, but maybe I'm mistaken. I don't indulge in that. Oh, I don't indulge. Oh. Anyways, Firebrand's getting looked at. Mind the Gap. Smoke Break both fighting over the Firebrands, and you've got 3 members of Mind the Gap here. Dishonored, Layers, and Benny Q hovering around the corner. Smoke Break is trying not to get knocked up by Dishonored. Just now rotating over is the Duin, who goes straight for Dishonored. Down he goes. First blood found. Thanks to Sap 7's massive portals. Adapting's able to get the kill on Benny Q, and Layers dashing away. Not wanting to give up farm, but still, I mean, you cannot let yourself go. You've already lost 2, and now make it 3. Tuba just died to Ragnover in duo.
What did I tell you, Mort? Adapting's going to hit level 5. All hell is going to break loose and Mind the Gap. Both Benny Q and Dishonored kind of sat on top of each other for a moment, right in time for Adapting to swoop through with an ultimate of their own. And Benny Q does get turned off a little bit by we're just ulting that guy. Oh, okay. Bye, wrong you. I don't know what we thought was going to happen there, but you'll notice that we don't have the beads and the Ares ultimate. Dardes is that guy. He will just make it happen.
Yeah, and you have to notice, too, that Rongyu does not have ult. He is not level 5. He doesn't have it unlocked to provide crowd control immunity. Even then, you lock yourself in place, and then you get chained up when you're done. I don't think there's a world where that works out, Rongyu. You've got to be a little bit careful, especially now that the stat changes have went through. Baron's a little bit squishier than what most support players are used to. You're used to having a little bit more protections early on, but, I mean, this is Baron we're talking about. He gets squished down quick.
I love all the cripples that Smoke Break has in their kit. I mean, you've got Deduin with the cripple field, and Dardes has got the chains. Really good stuff to be able to hold people in place for your damage from Adapting, as well as from Sap 7. Speaking of damage from Adapting.
Okay, 3 members from Smoke Break over here in duo. I don't know if this lands in any kills, but at least the neutral farm goes the way of Smoke Break, and that's the best that you can ask for, is try and maintain a little bit of a lead, which they do have at the 5-minute mark. I mean, it's less than 2,000, but still a pretty decent amount considering that we're only 5 minutes in.
Second round of rocks will go the way of Smoke Break, and for a dual scaler like Artio, she's a big fan of them too. It's worth noting, Deduin still going the way of the Boomba's cudgels, so not really feeling the effects of the nerfs too hard, and we'll still have a chance to spam out their abilities. So now that you have this lead, you've got your 4 kills, you got a little bit of gold in your pocket. Because we have these late game scalers, I don't know how often we can take a look at something like a Gold Fury just out of the blue. I feel like Smoke Break needs to kind of look for picks before we look for anything else. And they have the team to make that happen. As Moonlight descends, like I said before, a lot of cripples really good into Benny Q's Newt, and even Layers Dodge that kind of relies on being able to stay mobile in order to stop themselves from getting picked off too quickly, too early. And like you said before, Baron doesn't have the mobility at all. So if Smokebreak are able to find an aggressive pull with Ares or a rotation from Deduin, it could be curtains for Mind the Gap, who is definitely waiting to get some more damage online, penetration, Ratatahooties, that like, in order to start taking a look at some of the tankier members of Smokebreak.
Curious to see what you think on this, because I mean, I see a decent amount of late game scaling on both teams, but if you had to answer one, which team do you think scales better late game?
I'm really looking at this Newt. I mean, this new character just does so much once you hit that late game. And there is a moment for Mind the Gap to kind of pull ahead. I know you asked about the late game, but I actually want to ask you about this on her left side. Uh-oh.
Oh no, and solo side as well. Dishonored into the ult, looking to lock down Deduin or maybe escape, but yeah, I see a very low health bar Ragna on the left side getting dove. Currently, Tuba goes in, takes a couple tower shots, and Orangu is able to get the kill. Very nice play from Mind the Gap. Way to shut down Ragna a little bit more, as Ragna is 2-0 before that, now 2-1. We want to shut down that lead as much as possible, and the mid lane pad is up for grabs. Instead, Mind the Gap, rotate towards the Gold Fury. Let's take that down. We'll give the pad up. Is that a good trade, though?
That's actually a really good trade, right? As Gold Fury is confirmed by Mind the Gap. Because you think to yourself, why do we want the mid pad? We want the mid pad so we can get the pushers so that we can have control over the map. Uh-oh, wait, be careful here.
This is 3-on-2. Mind the Gap are down one number. As Daji still hanging out in the jungle, not wanting to fight for this pad. Smokebreak are going to have the man advantage, even though they're down a couple rocks. I mean, at any moment, Layers could just TP up mid, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Same thing with Jingwei. We're going straight towards mid lane to fight over it. We let Smokebreak have it for a moment, but now we're here to fight for it now. Dishonor rotating over as well. No escape. Couldn't find a pull. Life of the party in response. The mid lane pad being fought over. Mind the Gap have won the ritual. Piercing Moonlight goes straight forward. Down goes Orangu. Adapting gets the kill. And we back off right after. So, pad goes the way of Mind the Gap, but they lose Orangu in the process, losing a support for an objective. This seems to be very thematic today, Musi.
If I had a nickel. No. And you even asked before if Mind the Gap lost that mid-pad ritual, would it be good for them? And the answer still is yes, right? The mid-pad is good because you're able to kind of exercise some control of the map. Smokebreak has to acknowledge these pushers. Otherwise, they're going to end up losing a lot of damage on their tower. And because you already got the Gold Fury, which is kind of where you want to look earlier on in the game, you don't have to worry about controlling the map too much. You could just get the pushers and farm your lane. Well, Mind the Gap don't have to choose between anything, because they'll have the best of both worlds. And with that, maybe you can take a look at some of the smaller objectives, like these firebrands that we rotate towards. One of the weak points of this Yanis mid is the fact that they struggle during the mid game. You asked me earlier who I think pops off late. I think it's the Newt. I think it could also be the Yanis as like our two big damage dealers, but I'll tell you this right now. Newt's mid game is stronger than the Yanis mid game. 100%. Oh, yeah. And that could be where Mind the Gap can turn this game around. Again, I'm thinking about the Moonlight Queen Naga as kind of a deciding factor for how these games can go.
A big contributing factor to why the mid game is going to be a little rough for SAP 7. We went for Book of Thoth. We're going for scaling, right? We're investing in the late game. So even if you did grab just straight intelligence items, you know, Ratatahooty early, you know, we try and get online as quick as possible. You still struggle a little bit, but it's even more of a struggle because now you're stacking. Now you need to get minion kills and damage, everything else under your belt before that item is really worth what an item's worth right now as far as tier 3s go, right?
And you also have the Staff of Mirrodin pickup on the other side of the river, Benny Q. So we have Gemma Focus and Staff of Mirrodin. This Newt pick is very, very mobile, right? Double dashes, we use abilities, now we got some of that momentum, so we get some pathfinding to move even faster. That gets her from point A to point B, not even just in terms of dodging damage, but getting from camp to accelerate their farm. So it does feel like you said, right? Smokebreak really wants the late game, but Mind the Gap could turn it around here in the mid.
Great knockup by Tuba. Dardas soaks a little bit of damage. Stampede to follow. Rongu whiffs the root, but Still gets some damage, but not enough to kill. Life of the party wasn't worth the investment because Dardez does have no escape available. Life of the party did get used for Dardez, but jumps to safety through Disperse. Over the wall goes a layer straight for Adapting's head. Piercing Moonlight to provide some immunity, but straight onto the powwow. Benny Q takes down Adapting. Great rotation from the mid lane. And the portals have been sent out in case Stab7 wants to show up, but the numbers advantage for Mind the Gap tells me that they could go for Gold Fury. It's about to spawn.
I really like the 1v1 between layers and Adapting. That powwow dodges a lot of the damage that the Tsukiyomi wants to deal. Good spacing there from Wrong Use. Sap7 is just going to have to farm their wave as Gold Fury is looked at, like you said, Mort, but Smoke Break is still around, right? Like, Dardez is in the area with the ultimate available, so that might be the signal for Mind the Gap just to play it safer at this point. You definitely want to get the stuff after the stuff, right? Your objectives after the fight, but you don't always have to do it if you think that you could risk losing that objective, and Mind the Gap is a very cautious team when it comes to this. They're going to wait till they group as 5, maybe bait Smoke Break into a fight here.
And Minikyu can show up at any time with Skyfall to make sure it's secure. Dishonor drops for a moment. Gold Fury at half health. We're trying to make sure it stays low. I feel like it's a forced fight, right? Mind the Gap, obviously you want the Gold Fury. Between you do or don't want it, they'd prefer to have it, but really we want to kill members of Smoke Break. That's the remember that little devil in the shoulder thing you talked about earlier? That's what Mind the Gap have right now. They want to force a fight, but couldn't quite force it. Dishonored goes back to solo with his big worm tail between his legs.
Would have been a good fight to have, too, for Mind the Gap. Adapting still waiting to get their ultimate back up. And without that Tsukiyomi ultimate, Adapting's damage is kind of neutered just a little bit. They did just finish up that Book of Thought, though. So, scaling en route. We already have the Lucerne ready for maybe an early Titan's Bane, too, and that could get us across the finish line in terms of just being able to take a look at anybody and burst them down. We talked about earlier how Smoke Break has a great team for forcing relics and forcing decisions. I want to highlight the fact that Mind the Gap have a similar composition between the Newt, the Dodgy, and the Baron Samdi. Maybe not as strong and as clear-cut as Tsukiyomi Ares combination, but Layers is able to burn beads pretty effectively. And what I really like about Dodgy here is that she does very well into the Ardio with her ultimate, because Ardio is a character that very much relies on being able to dash in and out of danger. And then Wrong You too is able to find a lot of damage with their Life of the Party if they're able to find either Deduin or Adapting, because they don't have great ways to get away from that ultimate, especially with those cripples flying around.
No, you're absolutely right. In its own way, it's just as good, if not better. Like you said, not as clear cut, but I do see the vision for sure. Look at Deduin, right? The Ardio is so fun to watch with the Boombas procs. Like it's so cool to see. Firebrand's being fought over. A great root will force Dishonored into the World Serpent. His big ultimate where he moves around the map and is able to get back to the safety of the solo lane, hide under the tier 1 tower after the Firebrands have been taken down. Gold Fury still up 15 minutes into the game, and it's a 2K lead for Smoke Break. They've also got 3 kills over their opponent's Mind the Gap, and it's a relatively slower start compared to what we saw earlier on with Oni Warriors, and we're going for pause. Oh,
the Ristic Buddies. So while we have a chance to talk on cams, it's kind of interesting to me that Dishonored on this Yorn pick didn't opt for the Evil Eye this go around, and I feel like I see Evil Eye as an item that is like core in every single Yorm build. You throw it down, you get off your Bellowing Shout, you have a lot of damage. They can't dodge the Evil Eye, but instead we have the Brawlers and the I don't want to say Sphinx's Bauble in my mind, but that's definitely not what it is. But it gives you that little shield for any kind of magic damage. It constantly has that upkeep. I also noticed that the Baron Samdi, thank you so much. I also noticed that the Baron Samdi has their Talisman of Purification, so now we don't need to worry about beads as much for this Ares, because Wrong You can pop that and have a good answer to Smoke Break's engage.
Yeah, that's a very good point. The bubble only takes you so far. As we are Queen Naga ready to be taken down. Pyromancer and Gold Fury, all objectives to be looked at. Smoke Break have a bit of a lead. I'd say utilize the lead that you have. I mean, it's not a huge lead, right? 3K is definitely something, but it's not apparent through itemization. Even then, look, Benny Q has 2 tier 3s, just went back for the 3rd, and the Smoke Break mid laner, Sap7 has the tier 3s also. So itemization being in the favor of Mind the Gap or Smoke Break, it's not huge. It's not really apparent, but they still have something, a little bit of momentum they can use to go for an objective, and they're doing that for Queen Naga right now.
Totem of Death. We'll see if it comes into play here as the Naga falls down to half health. Deduin drags it over to Mind the Gap, though, and it looks like...
Oh, Rongu gets taken down. Deduin gets the kill. Rongu played up a little bit too far. I think Mind the Gap as a team wanted to let Queen Naga go the way of Smoke Break and not contest it too much. Instead, we'll split the map and find some farm, maybe show up in the mid lane in a little bit.
Okay, Benny Q, we're up in the air. Steal away the Pyro, and... No, not able to keep it away.
Oh, they
Rodney
dropped
gets it. Good drop there
that was a smart
from
drop.
Smoke Break, but now Mind the Gap could find a good fight here.
Okay, no escape. Forces players onto the powwow. Just find a pull. Benny Q not in rage. Giannis portal thrown across the map, but looks like it was off the mark. Now we're fighting for the mid lane pad, but Smoke Break not putting up much of a fight after they just got the Queen Naga. They lost a little bit of resource. They lost a couple ultimates as well, and making it rain on these rocks. 4 members of Mind the Gap just getting all that XP.
Yarp! Make it rain rocks! So, Mind the Gap. They lost Moonlight Queen Naga and they lost the Pyromancer. This means Smoke Break will also have that ritual in hand. Ragna has it. So that means they have a really good fight here. Oh, but they're caught!
Benny Q hit a massive root there. Down went Dardes. Life of the party in response. Did find a pull on Deduin. And look at Layers going straight into the back line, but will definitely pay with his life. Ragnar throws a couple spears, and Layers takes a couple to the dome. Down he goes. 1 dead on each side, but Deduin falls to Benny Q. Around the side with Desert Fury looking for Rongu. Almost able to find the kill, but just not quite. Skyfall goes up, and Dishonored kills Adapting. Down 3 members, and Ragnar almost makes it 4, but Ragnar's going in for a fight. Just wiped Dishonored. Pillar pin almost killed Benny Q. Sap7 finds a bit of damage needed, but down went Ragnar as well. He knew he was going to die. He said, I'm taking one with me. A great portal play from Sap7 does a lot of damage onto Rongu. Tuba still alive as well. The dual lane for Mind the Gap backing things up here in mid. Dartes just teleported up mid and does have no escape ready. But Mind the Gap are done with this fight. The beacon is already gone. Nothing left to fight over. Let's back off.
Your middle tower is under
Oh my
attack.
goodness. I mean, that was just incredibly scrappy. Mind the Gap catch Smoke Break out in that little corridor, that little triage right off the left side of that mid T1, where Mind the Gap's damage is just really easy to apply. Unfortunately, Layers didn't have ultimate for that fight. They just used it previously. That means that Adapting is able to just free cast on this Dodgy, right? I mentioned before, I like Dodgy's 1v1 versus Tsukiyomi. That is very much dependent on having your ultimate. If you don't have your ult, the Suki is able to kind of turn around and look at you and cut you down to size, especially when Sap7 is standing right behind them with an unstable vortex, just throwing it across the wall there. But all's well that ends well for both teams, question, because it just kind of ended up being a wash as Mind the Gap start up this Gold Fury.
Gold Fury getting burned away, and it's burning quick. Tuba's got the damage, but Ragnar and Adapting are here by the gold. Who's going to take it? Ragnar just stole it with a Desert Fury. Gold Fury goes the way of Smoke Break, and a powwow in response. You're not going to get that for free. Beads pulled from Sap7, and away Smoke Break goes. We got the gold. That's what we wanted. Let's bail.
But a really solid steal there from Ragnar to just walk up and throw out that ultimate you could see that they had to use. So Smoke Break aren't too upset with the chain of events so far, and especially thinking about the fact that the mid game is where they kind of fall behind or at their weak point with the Cianis, but time marches on. They've been able to get not only the Gold Fury, the Moonlight Queen Naga, the Pyromancer. That's a lot of global gold in your back pocket. And the Pyromancer bomb as well. And with Fire Giant spawning around the corner, these characters are going to be hitting some pretty important power spikes. Once an Ob Shard gets built on the Cianis, once we get to see some more damage, it is curtains for anybody that they connect with. And of course, we cannot ignore the ticking time bomb that is that double stacking Tsukiyomi. Adapting has been waiting for their moment, and it's going to be right around the corner here. So Mind the Gap has to play these fights a little bit more carefully. Can't do it as scrappily. We have to make sure that we find some picks before we go for any too crazy engages. Dodgy's great at maybe hunting out a Giannis. They're able to chase after them, so that could be primary target number 1.
Well, look at it doing, diving straight under the tier 1 tower. Piercing Moonlight still does damage even through Skyfall. Adapting gets the kill, landed right onto the couch drops. Layer's dead as well. Dishonored finds revenge, going straight for Adapting's head. Down he goes, but he did kill 2 members before he fell. I'd say that's a worthy investment. And 3 members of each team fighting here in mid lane, but not a lot to fight over. I guess Pyromancer is next door. I don't know if there's maybe a worthwhile pull.
I mean, you got 2 people dead, and the 2 people that are dead, it's the mid and the jungle combination, so definitely something worth taking a look at, but Dardes is taking a little bit of poke here from Tuba and Rongyu. It is going to be the Pyro pull from Smokebreak, and they still have Ares ult, so Mind the Gap can't walk up without thinking about the consequences of their actions.
And both solo laners still back here in mid lane. Life of the party going straight for Sap 7, but couldn't quite find the collapse. The Duin takes down Rongyu. Tuba forced into the air and Dishonored forced to escape as well. Smoke Break came out on top of the fight, and while Mind the Gap pushed them off the Pyromancer, they lost Rongyu in the process. And who's to say that Smoke Break just couldn't turn around after a moment and go straight back to Pyro?
They just don't want to risk it. Sap is too low, and this Yorm can do a lot of damage. I'm actually kind of surprised that Sap was able to slip out of that fight, especially because you had such a good engage from Mind the Gap, specifically looking for that Giannis, but just wasn't quite able to connect. So now we get a chance to breathe a bit for both, our dual laners. Tuba's still a little bit behind and needs to finish up their Titan's Bane. Ragna has no such reservations. Theirs is locked and ready to go. And speaking of penetration, Benny Q, not only do we have that totem, but we also have the Ob Shard there too. So there's a lot of shred attached to Benny Q right now. So whoever the Snoot is able to connect to is definitely a target that you want to look at, because they will have reduced protections and just take a bunch of extra damage.
Yeah, look at Dardes' health bar getting just melted right there. The double pin itemization is definitely benefiting Benny Q. Beats forced away so Benny doesn't fall, and a lot of damage being thrown at Rongyu as well. 3 members of Smoke Break back here in mid, and like I said, I mean, they could just go back, heal up, and go right back to Pyro. It's a ticking time bomb that, guess what, drops a bomb. What's the irony behind that?
Your middle tower is under attack.
It's a little bit ironic. Don't you?
Oh!
Bye, Tuba.
Oh!
Soloed out. Looks like Smoke Break know for a fact that they can have this Pyromancer. Mind the Gap can't take the 4v5. Oh, 5v3?
The Piercing Moonlight, and it lands just about every tick, goes straight to Rongyu, and Wind Sprite to follow. Portal thrown out from Sap 7. Down goes Rongyu. Tuba dead as well. Mind the Gap have lost 2 members, and Deduin looking to make it 3. A dash will barely get you out of root range from Deduin. So Mind the Gap able to escape for now. Layers go straight for Dardes. You might have pushed up a little bit too far. No escape provides some mitigations, but oh, the powwow to follow. Massive damage thrown out from Benny Q. Dardes, more like dead Dez. And look at Dishonored going straight for the rest of Smoke Break, setting things up for a potential fight. Skyfall down,
in the bush.
And Dishonored ult down as well. No more powwow ready. But what can happen right after? Life of the party is up, and Rongyu is teleporting up mid, but Smoke Break no longer around for the fight. Gold Fury, FG, Pyromancer, all can be looked at here. What's the move?
You take a look at this Pyro. Fire Giant's up as well, so I'd probably take a look at the Pyro first, just because it's a little easier to pick up and put down compared to something big like a Fire Giant. Also, we talk about the fact that every time I look at Deduin in the mid lane, they're chilling inside this mid bush. First time they jumped out, they killed Benny. Second time, they scared them out of beads. We need some vision on this map, man, because Smoke Break is hiding around corners and just... we never seem to know where they all are at the same time. Pyromancer confirmed by Smoke Break. Now they're going to take a look at that FG. Ults are coming up, but Mind the Gap have an opportunity to make something work.
Stampede forward, followed by the Tally. Life of the party, distracting the backline for Smoke Break. Mind the Gap make their way into the Fire Giant room. Down to 3k health. Down to 2. The Fire Giant still burning. Piercing Moonlight to follow. Lands straight for Benny Q. Benny Q takes a lot of damage in the process, but Deduin falls. Layers, Dishonored, all dead. Rongyu to join them. And into the air goes Tuba. And Benny Q is able to get the kill on Adapting. Ragna extremely low, forced to go back to base. Nobody's getting FG today.
Crazy damage coming out from Benny Q there. The fact that they live too is actually wild. Shout outs again to the nighttime, because Benny Q is able to find a pick that gives them a little bit of health to keep their fight going, to pump out even more damage. And Tuba being able to have their Titan's Bane in their back pocket is very threatening to anybody that tries to go after the Jing Wei. Like I said before, Smoke Break had a small opportunity before all the ultimates, or the Mind the Gap had a small opportunity before the ultimates of Smoke Break came up, and they took that chance. It might have looked like Rongyu kind of inted there, right? They stampede, they pop Talisman, they make themselves look bright and flashy. It attracts the attention of Smoke Break. It's this giant signal flare that says, hey, look at me, I'm an issue. Is Rongyu an issue? No! What is the 1 in 5 Baron Samney gonna do to you in a fire giant? Kill that guy, right? Oh, but you're looking at the Baron. You're not looking at the Newt. You're not looking at the Jingwei. You're not looking at the Yorm, right? So that is the opportunity that Rongyu makes there to enable Mind the Gap to get a ton of damage off.
Yeah, Rongyu so confident with taking the sacrifice there, and now that you've painted the picture for me, I understand why. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of distraction that's done, especially with the Ansile pickup, with Life of the Party. I mean, there's nothing that any god can do for a brief moment there. Stampede utilized. It's a decent tool taken away from Mind the Gap, but Dishonored still goes straight into the back line, gets locked down though, and takes a good amount of damage in the process. Dishonored at half health. And the Deduin goes straight for Layers, who's pretty low as well. Yorm forced into the ult. Layers forced onto the Powwow and gunning for a couple members of the back line. Dishonored still leaping around, and Skyfall forced out as well. What a scattered fight that eventually leads with no deaths. Mind the Gap goes back, and the Pad's favor goes to Smoke Break. They get the Moonlight Ritual, and they make their way towards FG, but I don't think they burn it. Maybe?
I don't even know if they have to burn it. They still have the Tsukiyomi ult and the Ares ult, so Mind the Gap, they can't really walk up to this without suffering more than a handful of kills. The only person with their ultimate is Tuba. This is not a good situation for Mind the Gap to try to contest this. I would almost say you have to let this go.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point. But still, Mind the Gap around. Piercing Moonlight goes straight for Benny Q. Down goes Benny. Layers in trouble as well. Rongyu gets pulled. Oh, Tally forced out. Layers still fighting, but Tuba gets a kill on Deduin in the backside. Ragnar's dead as well. Tuba's putting on a clinic with Dishonored, but adapting, fighting for the rest of the back line. Rongyu in trouble. Adapting, hiding, looking for an opportunity. Rongyu and Tuba still around. The Pyromancer Dardes takes a lot of damage. Tuba takes off into the air and takes down Dardes. 3 dead for Smoke Break. And look at Sap7 with nowhere to go, waiting on the cooldown. Take me over the wall, please. Sap7 barely escapes and holding back with his life. Again, a lot of kills unfolded by the Fire Giant Pit, but nobody takes the FG.
Your left tower is under attack. Your right tower.
I don't think I or Smoke Break was ready for the positioning there from the Jingwei. Tuba could not have played that better, right? Because Smoke Break have the Ares ultimate in pocket and the Tsukiyomi ultimate in pocket. Those are team fight defining ultimates. And we were able to use Adapting's ult to kill Newt, but nobody else. The other big problem on the Mind the Gap team was busy. Oh, no, you're gonna let that go? Yeah, all right, that's right. Back up, walk away. That's a late game Tsukiyomi. But the other boogeyman of the Mind the Gap team was over, looped back around the side of the Fire Giant Pit, assassinates Ragna, and you have Dishonored, this Jormungandr, who's able to kind of thread the needle as well. Very slippery pick, makes a lot of sense. They are a snake, to be able to play with their Jingwei. So really, really good fight there from Mind the Gap, buying themselves even more time, getting even more items online. Smoke Break will take the Pyromancer, kind of a given, right? But this Fire Giant fight, this will be the 3rd time that they've tried this, the 4th time. I'm scared if I'm Smoke Break.
I'm terrified. Rongyu is taken down to half health. Dishonored goes into the back line. Not a lot of follow-up from the team, though. Hops into the ult and looks for some lockdown. Skyfall might hit a lot of bodies. It did hit 2, and Smoke Break took a good amount of damage in the process. Riding extremely low. Look at Benny Q. Found his go button. Adapting goes straight into the back line, though. Tuba's dead, with Layers able to get one. Ragnar, Deduin, both are down. And Life of the Party to lock down Dardes. Benny Q kills Adapting drafting in the back line, all just grouping up on top of Dardes. Sap 7 over the wall, throwing out some portals and trying to zone so Dardes can get out of there, but Layers has to teleport, and Layers chases down and guns down Dardes. 4 dead for Smoke Break. Mind the gap, have to retreat. They're all low health, but with long death timers like these at the 30-minute mark, I think that FG is theirs.
They should be able to pick that up and start looking at, you know, mid towers, that right side T2 that's still up. What did I tell you, Mort? Smoke Break, every time they've tried to pull this FG, it just does not go well. And this time, Mind the Gap are able to take them in a fight where they don't have to split up the fight in order to win it. Everybody was able to stay on top of each other. Sap 7 doesn't have ultimate, but you are a Yanis, so you have to acknowledge them. Dishonored will chase them out. A Smoke Break will scramble to try to stop this FG.
Okay, but he can't get there. He's forced away by Dishonored. I understand that, you know, you want to show up to this, but there's just not a world you can steal this without your ult. But whoa, BennyQ almost let it go, but BennyQ's able to secure. Smoke Break showed up at the, you know, last second possible, but out of range for the Desert Fury to steal. Instead, no, the dagger's been dropped. The dagger's been dropped and used right after. To do and use it and then ran. Rad is there in the front line looking to kill Dishonored, but forced into the ult to teleport away. So Mind the Gap, got the FG, dropped the dagger. To do and use it. FG buff still on everybody but Dishonored. Our Tuba and Ancient Fury could be looked at now with Mind the Gap down a notch, forced to go back. Can Smoke Break rip this Ancient quickly?
Took us a little bit too long to finish up that FG. That puts us in an awkward position where Smoke Break kind of opens the door and you're like, occupied. Like, you're like, whoa, I didn't invite you here. So now Mind the Gap, even though they get FG, can't have first crack of the gold. Maybe they can steal it here though, but Dardes will confirm it for Smoke Break as Mind the Gap have to go to their original plan, which is going to be pushing down some lanes and, you know, try to get some minion waves pushed up so that they could take a look at some of the other Phoenixes. That left bird is looking very weak, Mort.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now, no Runic Bomb available for Mind the Gap to use. The only Runic Bomb in anyone's inventory is for Ragnar right now. So, I mean, I think we go for Pyro, and maybe we grab that, use that Runic Bomb, throw it down, and run. That might be a plat strategy, but that's one I've relied on for quite some time, you know. Just try and sneak past the team, throw it down, and then bail. It ain't broke.
Hey, man, you can't argue with results, right? Like,
yeah.
But I do feel that Mind the Gap fight is...
Your team
yeah, right.
destroyed the Pyromance.
Well, that wasn't very cool. Yeah, well, I got your beating, so didn't I? You didn't think about that, did you? Interesting.
Yeah. Pyromancer, take it down.
Brains.
Mind the Gap, have the Runic Bomb. It's in pocket for Tuba, the most mobile god on their team. So I think it's, you know, maybe Tuba goes for that. Who knows? But instead, we take down the tier 1 in mid lane for members of Mind the Gap, all with FG belts. Looking at this tier 1 tower in mid lane. It's not going to fall too quickly. Oh, okay. It's taking some damage. It's going to fall pretty. I'll eat my words on that one. It's all right.
May or may not be a T2 tower at the 33-minute mark. You know, we might have penetration and Rata Hooties and everything online. That's just me. But this left side bird, that is something that can get pieced up pretty quickly here. Smoke Break have a pretty solid defense, but now that they have their Giannis that was able to successfully back, they're still trying to play through walls and try to play for a pick here.
Tuba tried to throw did throw the Runic Bomb down. It didn't kill though. 71 health. 71. It's all right. A couple basics will take that bird down. Smoke Break didn't hit the go button. Instead, they let the bird die. But important thing to note, Musi, the next EFG, the next FG will be EFG. The next Gold Fury will be Ancient Fury. We're now rotating into the late game here at the 34-minute mark where these objectives mean so much more. And considering it's only a 3K gold lead for Smoke Break, it feels dead even in the grand scheme of things.
It might as well be. 3K gold at, 34 minutes is pennies, right? It's just not that much. But I will say this.
Yeah.
Mind the Gap. The last FG they got, if that was an enhanced Fire Giant, they don't walk away with it. I'm going to be so
Right.
honest. They do not have the burn to be able to pull something like that off again to put a lot of resources into chasing away Sap. Next time that they go for an objective, it's got to be all hands on deck to be able to get the damage through. Like, you have to be able to put the respect on EFG's name. So Smokebreak have a couple opportunities to be as disruptive as possible. And like you said, now that we're in this super late game, this Tsukiyomi's full build. Adapting can press 4 and really tear through some health bars. And Sap 7 as well. Similar situations. Got the Staff of Mirrodin. You could double Portal, you could double Unstable Vortex. That's not to say, even too, that Ragnar isn't there, because he is 100% ready to combat Blink in, find a pin, and go nuts, right? So, everybody from both teams. This is the moment in the game where the time to kill is so low if you're anyone that isn't building a bunch of defense items. So positioning is key. Don't let yourself get lined up to get struck by that Suki ultimate. Don't let yourself get caught out by a rotating layers to be able to pull you away.
Stampede forward. Mind the gap. Don't want to fight around the EFG. They're looking for a pick. Down goes Adapting. A great play from Tuba. They have just lost Adapting. I repeat, they have just lost Adapting. Layers onto the Powwow. Looking for a pull, but Beats Force away from Deduin. It's a great pull, so Smokebreak don't have as many resources once the FG burn begins. And with 5 members of Mind the Gap around the EFG, the burn will begin here. It is slow but sure. Mind the Gap looking to ensure their victory with this pull, but Smokebreak have ultimates to work with. Desert Fury, no escape, all could interrupt this. Dardes goes straight into the back line and forces Mind the Gap away. 7k health on the EFG, but no escape does pull a lot. Benny Q kills Sap 7. Into the back line goes Deduin, gunning straight for Tuba. Where is Deduin gonna go? Radna goes into the back line as well, but Layers picks him off. That's 3 dead for Smokebreak. 3 dead. Deduin is by himself in the back line, and Tuba throws some basics. Guns Deduin down. 4 members deceased for Smokebreak. Mind the Gap have gapped them. And whoa, wait a minute, on the left side, the minions went through, and the Titan's low health, and thank goodness that Smokebreak realized they're able to defend the Titan room, but that's a half health Titan.
There is a pusher outside of your front door, and 5 strong are Mind the Gap. They could absolutely go for the end call.
That's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do. I think they're going to take it. They don't have FG belts, but they don't need them. Stampede forward. Rongyu looking for an opportunity. Onto the Powwow, looking for a pull. Beats Force away from Adapting, and they don't even care about kills. They kill Dardes in the process, but he's just a casualty. The Titan is the target, and down it falls. Mind the Gap, get the dub.
And that is exactly why you take a look at that mid-ritual before you want to do big objectives. Those pushers take a toll on anything that they come into contact with, be it a tower, Phoenix, or even the Titan that left Bird destroyed, left it completely exposed, and Smokebreak had to keep the manpower next to the EFG pit. They couldn't respond to that pusher in time. This also means that the mid-pusher was able to completely push through, and, well, when your cooldowns are reset, you're ready to take the next fight, and there's nobody there to defend. Mind the Gap did not need to mind anything. They just had to go in and finish it off.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, they realized, I don't even know if they saw it beforehand. I mean, surely you look at the map and you see, hey, we've got pushers over there, but I think once they realize, hey, that's a half health Titan, let's just go for it. Let's just go. They've got it. That's a weakened Bird on the left side, now or never, and they went for it, and it went well. That's a dub. That's a dub if I've ever seen it, right? You can call it a panic end, you can call it whatever you want. You can't argue with results.
We're a big fan of results over here on Smite Prime. As you get a chance to see some replays here from the game that we just watched. Again, this is a good fight from Smokebreak that turns into kind of a bad one because we invest a lot into layers, and then we take a little bit too long to loop around and acknowledge the newt. Benny Q's able to get a ton of damage off, and Dishonored on this Yorm pick is just able to soak up so much damage. Mind the Gap look really strong as they hit their mid-game stride, transitioning over towards that late game. We never really had a chance to see the Tsukiyomi do what we expected it to do once we hit that hyper late game state. In fact, Mind the Gap did a good job. I hope we see the replay of it, but where Tsukiyomi was up in that top right side near the T2, and Jing Wei and Dishonored just kind of walk up and blow him up and then go back to go do EFG. Like, it was great target acquisition there from Mind the Gap.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They caught him out, and they gunned him down, and then they went for objective. And with that one-man advantage, Mind the Gap took the game by storm. A great play. The lineup from SAP 7 on the portal there was huge, but it didn't. I mean, it worked out pretty well considering 4 members, low health bars, but VennyQ turns things around here. Sorry, I just started casting that. I don't I just started play calling. This looked like a really good lineup too, but they split up at the last second. I think if VennyQ was ready for the Skyfall a second earlier, then Mind the Gap would have won this even faster. They still ended up winning it though.
Say, they had some really solid team fights. Oh, that was such a good ult from Layers too. Delays Sap 7,
Yeah.
they pull him into the powwow, and then just turns around to take a look at adapting, knowing that this Yanis is just kind of stuck in place. Really good calls from the team, good communications about who we want to get and when. Also a little pyro bomb thrown out there. I didn't notice that before, but I see it now. And this fight too, so much damage. Look at how much these squishies take, but absolutely turn it around on top of SAP 7, who tried to get in there with that unstable vortex. It was a blink unstable vortex staff of mirrored in play, but unfortunate that he just got immediately turned on. Dodoon tries to do anything that they can, but even with the spectral armor, it is just too much damage from Tuba and too much damage from VennyQ, so they just get absolutely pieced up.
Well, great gameplay from Smoke Break. They gave it their best shot. We saw some amazing plays from Ragna early on, really utilizing this on her pick to its fullest potential. But before that Devos got finished, with its stacking and everything, I think that, there was only so much you can do, right? And then SAP 7 also, who, I wasn't expecting to see the Giannis pick from him, but I think he made it look pretty well, all things considered. The player damage charts really show that he came online and was a big threat that, was eventually, checked by Mind the Gap, but still, that was a problem for Mind the Gap. It definitely wasn't an easy victory, but it was a victory nonetheless.
Whew, that was only our second game so far today, and I know for a fact that we've got even more around the corners. So I don't know about you, Mort, but I'm very excited to see what else we have in store for us here on Smite Prime.
Well, let's get to it. But before we move our way down the bracket, we've got to take a quick ad break. We'll be back in a few minutes. Do not go anywhere. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the April Circuit Week 2 coming at you with Smite Prime. My name's Morty. I'm with Jithens, Testai, Solstice, all behind the scenes. And with me here in the booth today is Musy as we make our way into the next game. Oh!
Whoa! Didn't see you there.
Very nice. That was a very smooth transition there. Hold that versus the Mushroom Kingdom coming at you here in a moment. But before we get there, let's talk about what all of these players are fighting for. And it is the grand prize of 7,000 USD. And it is a lot of dinero to be fighting for. They spend 3 weeks, the 4th, the 11th, and the 18th, fighting through the open bracket to qualify for the closed bracket on the 25th, and then fight their way to get to the grand finals and win the 25th. We've also got an art shop, in case you've been enjoying everything you've seen from Smite Prime and want to support Smite Prime, as well as some of the artists throughout the community, which we collaborate with to make phone cases, posters, mouse pads, pillows, and the Horus Tumbler.
Oh my god, Horus Tumbler.
Shop.smitprime.com. Yeah. Oh my goodness, the koozie. I think I won that giveaway, didn't I, Jithens? All right, let's get our way into the bracket and let's take a look at the games here. It's enough art talk. I've had enough of this.
No, Horus Tumbler. I'll miss him. But I'll miss some of the teams that got knocked out here. Week 2 of Smite Prime. We get a chance to see the teams that made it over here to the semifinals. Hold that, Mushroom Kingdom, Single Bind, and Mind the Gap. So should be pretty stacked up here. I mean, we got the number 1 seeded team, the 5, the 2nd, and the 3rd. Oni Warriors was actually eliminated by Mushroom Kingdom, so I'm very excited to see how this Mushroom Kingdom team is going to progress as the day moves on. The Mario Bro team, if I'm not mistaken, makes sense. That's the namesake, so excited to get our eyes on that one.
Mario Bro, the Passion Caster, W Carry. Love Mario Bro. And is he going to be going up against the all-known, they were known as Witchcraft, now they're known as Hold That. This is Sunprod, Snatty, Kaidon. These are some huge players that Mushroom Kingdom are going to have to prove themselves up against.
It's going to be tough. It's a tough matchup. I mean, this Hold That Witchcraft team has been fairly dominant, right? I think the only other team that's really taken them to task to a degree has been the Clocked In team, which is not here today. So you would kind of think to yourself, they didn't get the opportunity to kind of run rampant. But Mushroom Kingdom on a bit of a hot streak so far. So if they're still keeping the engine warm and still feeling that heat, got the fire burning in your heart, then burn away. See how well you can play through that game. It is just a best of one. So they've only got one chance, one shot, one opportunity, and a whole lot of Italian food to deal with.
Well, will you catch it, or will you just let it slip? Let's see whose palms are going to be sweaty as we move our way down to the. I mean, I think it's going to be a fun matchup, dude. Hold That has been a name. It's been, pretty memorable, especially because they beat Clocked In last week. They beat Clocked In the finals of week 1. So that's not an easy task. Clocked In, the so-called kings have been usurped in the beginning of April. So, I mean, now that with Clocked In down, they have a chance to prove their dominance yet again for 2 weeks in a row. But can they get to the finals, or will Mushroom Kingdom take them down? Let's find out as we get our way into the picks and bans of the game.
We'll address the elephant in the room. No Pele. No Pele. Please, don't let it through. Don't let it happen. Don't let us see the murderous monstrosity again off the board, right? I think the hotfix has been pretty good at targeting some of the other characters, but still the Hercules and the Najas of the world are being banned away. Something that's worth noting as well, Kali Aspect is not currently available in the game, disabled, right? So that means that when it comes to our ADC picks, we're looking at the On Her that's still very, very strong. The Jing Wei, even though there was a change to the aura attached to spectral armor, still crit very strong and effective in the hands of certain characters, and Jing Wei is absolutely one of them. If you need somebody that needs to scale up towards the late game and just two-piece random jungler or a mid laner, Hecate and Discordia have maybe fallen out of favor in favor of the Newt, which has been very popular. We've been seeing a lot so far today. So interesting from Hold That to see what they prioritize first as we get a chance to see some of the bans that are already filtering through.
Matchups look pretty fun to watch, right? We're looking at some of the more popular names in the amateur scene. Port Degree, if you've ever watched OSL, you definitely know the name Port Degree. Koja Fox as well, responsible for a lot of what happens with OSL, not just as far as a player's perspective, but they're involved with the broadcast team as well. And Mario, bro, very, very passionate caster. The passionate carry of all carries that are passionate. It's Mario, bro, right? But then on the other side, you've got very recognizable names that, I mean, we know Sunprod. Everybody knows Sunprod at this point, right? The celebrity of Smite Prime. And Snatty, who's been a long time, very popular solo lane YouTuber, content creator. Baronary, who's been around with the comp scene for quite some time as well. And Zapman, a very known name, especially if you go back to the SPL days and everything else involving that. I mean, Zapman's been around for quite some time. Young heads and old heads collaborate here with Hold That as Mushroom Kingdom. They've got something to prove in this matchup.
Pele, Newt, On Her, Artio, Kerberos, and Nuwa off of the board here. Makes me wonder what we want to look at. Naja is available. Hercules is actually available. So do Hold That still think Hercules is worth it, right? It's going to be the Odin that's locked in right away. Really good at forcing the shell. If you're able to find something that burns a beads as well. Kerberos is off the board, but Ares has had its time to shine so far today and does appear to be a pretty strong pick. So a solid beads burner like a Daji or an Ares would pair very nicely with this Odin.
I think so, 100%. We'll have to see as we get down to the picks and bans. Hercules, like you mentioned, still available. The On Her, not though. On Her, finally getting banned away. Usually very high in the picks, but we'll just get rid of the On Her, which means we'll finally see a third carry. All day we've seen On Her, Jing Wei, On Her. Guess what? We've got the Jing Wei, but who's going to counter the Jing Wei? Geb has been taken out back and shot. Geb is no longer playable, unfortunately. That's what the streets say.
It is what it is.
Rest in peace. I miss my Geb. Have you ever? What's your
Geb,
favorite god, Muzi? Do you know what it's like to have your favorite god be popular, then just to be completely obliterated and shot into the moon?
Every day I miss intelligent scaling Sun Wukong. So no, I get it. I know what it's like. You know, I understand how that feels. Don't laugh. Don't laugh at me. Don't laugh at me.
Wukong?
We're gonna do this.
What a
We're gonna do this right now.
dude! I if we weren't on Smite Prime, we'd be doing it. I'll hold my tongue for now, but once we're on break, you're gonna
That's
get
right.
an earful.
That's right.
That's for sure. No, that's right. Jithens, cut us to a break. No, I'm just kidding. Morgan Le Fay and Apollo are joining the battle for Hold That. And Apollo's been very popular for quite some time. If you want to talk about a bronze medal, a third place to go behind Anher Jingwei, it's got to be Apollo. He's been so busted with this aspect. And even without aspect, you're able to rotate around the map and provide a lot of pressure and split the map well. I'm going to split push and go up the left side while the rest of y'all go for FG. If I'm needed, I'm flying over there. I'll be there in about 5 seconds. Or if the fight's not going well, I need to get out. I'm going to go to the left side, split push a little bit, then go back to base. I mean, Apollo can just be everywhere at once. It's pretty nice. And another Charon? What? Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. Do my eyes deceive me here, Musi? Could this be? Yep. Okay. All right. Would you want to take this? I'll do it if you don't want it.
So, Sobek, solo, Yamoja, support.
Yep.
Charon mid with the aspect.
Okay. Truth.
Or
There's some truth there. Look, let
Is
me put my 2 cents in.
is it
Aspect
Yamoja mid
of
with the aspect?
downpour. Aspect of downpour. Yamoja
Oh,
can
with
put
Echo.
a lot of damage out. Throw the Echo on there. Bounce. Then you throw the Rivers of Buke. You get all your Omi back. A lot more bouncing. And the Echo does a lot of damage. That could be the move. This changes things on a level that I don't think even Hold That are ready for. Here's the thing. Hold That have been dealing with the same 10 picks from Clocked In for quite some time. They've been obliterating the rest of the bracket to get to Clocked In. Then you're seeing the same exact thing. You're seeing Yorm from Karmic. You're seeing Bari and Newt from Paul. You're seeing the same picks over and over and over. Okay, Kali goes into the jungle. Okay, now it's starting to make sense. Look, I don't think Hold That did their homework on this team comp. This could be something completely unexpected. I don't think I've ever been more hyped for a game through picks and bans here, Musi.
So, this feels kind of cheesy. This got a lot of cheese going on here, dripping off the sides. Where,
Ooh.
if it is that aspect of Downpour Yamoja, I think it was Genetics has been playing with it recently. To go, like you say, you throw up the walls, you got your echo damage, it crashes down just in time, you get a whole bunch of pop off.
Yep.
I'm worried about the fragility of this pick, right? Because you are very much still Yamoja. You don't have the best mobility in terms of, like, yes, you can use the rings and such like that, but because of the way that her Omi works, it feels like her abilities have to be fairly committal, and you can't just throw things around super willy-nilly, right? You have to be careful, especially because of the fact that the Odin can just destroy a Yamoja if she's in the mid lane. Charon gets destroyed by an Odin, right? So if either of these picks are our mid lane picks, this Odin jungle piloted by Sunprod is going to give these characters such a rough, hard time. And they're not going to have too much space to work around with. Now, I'm ready and willing to believe in whatever I'm about to witness from Mushroom Kingdom. But it's scary to think about how quickly and how easily this can fall apart if Hold That are able to not underestimate it. I feel like Mushroom Kingdom's plan here is we're going to throw something really crazy at them that they won't have an answer for, that they won't be able to think of one for, because they're going to be like, oh, it's just this, we don't have to worry about it, we're going to go and do that. You get their gotcha moment, they get their cheese, and then they take that cheese and they run away with it because it's a best of one, right? If Hold That go, cool, let's just leave that be for a second, not play into them. Let's play the map, let's play our game of avoiding some of the nonsense here. And I feel like Hold That gets to the late game and they look very, very strong. Because Mushroom Kingdom have some good scalers with the Jingwei and the Kali, but if you had to ask me who I think is going to be stronger late game, a Yamoja or a Charon mid versus a Morgan Le Fay or a Merlin mid, and a Scylla, the Scylla support. Don't overthink that. But I'd tell you that Hold That's mid laner are going to be doing way more than anything those other characters could do. So I think it's cool, and I'm ready to see it, and I will pop off if it pops off. Make zero mistakes. I will be back here, Mushroom Kingdom's biggest fan. But I'm scared for how easily it looks like this could just be taken apart.
And we've talked about how cheesy this Mushroom Kingdom comp is. Now, lay your eyes over to Hold That for a moment. Now, I'm seeing a formation here. You've got Bayro, Zapman, Scylla, Apollo. Makes sense. Probably Kaidon in the mid lane with this Merlin pick. Okay, that's up his sleeve. I get that. All makes sense so far. Then we've got left over Morgan Le Fay and Odin. Now, Sunprod loves the Odin pick. We've seen him tear it up with his Odin pick multiple times on Smite Prime. That leaves Morgan Le Fay solo. Probably aspect of the Cursed Crown. It makes her melee, but it changes up her abilities just a tad. And kind of the same issue that you mentioned with Yamoja. She's still immobile. Now, you do get a couple dashes with your ultimate. Okay, that gives you a little bit of mobility and some crowd control immunity as well, but still, without the ult, unless you want to invest in using that only for mobility, then you're kind of just stuck in one spot. It's better mobility than what Yamoja would have through, relying on Riptide, sure, but it's just, it's different. Now, we're throwing curveballs at each other, and I'm kind of wondering which one is going to be more efficient here. Is it the ever so slight change up to the meta with this Morgan Le Fay solo, assuming that it's that's just, me throwing something at the wall and hoping it sticks? Or is it Mushroom Kingdom's entirely different comp? It could be Charon solo and Sobek support and then Yamoja mid, or it could be any number of those three things. We know it's not Kali carry because the aspect's disabled. It is what it is. These things happen. It would be kind of cool. Imagine that the aspect was disabled. Then we wouldn't know if it's Jingwei or Kali in the jungle. I mean, it could be Jingwei jungle for all we know. And that's one less, wrench thrown into our predictions. But even then, there is a number of things that could happen with this Mushroom Kingdom comp that once we get into game, I'm excited to see how it transpires.
Well, and I'll tell you this Morgan Le Fay pick for the solo lane, especially when she has that aspect of the Cursed Crown, she's definitely just a lane merchant, right? Like, she's able to win lane. She's very hard to kill. She does a lot of damage, and she trades pretty effectively. So Hold That. I mean, Snatty doesn't have too much to worry about. Once the Morgan Le Fay becomes a bit more involved in team fights, I feel like maybe she's not as strong in comparison to some of the other solo lane picks, but you don't really have to worry about people getting away from you too much when you have the Odin cage that Sunprod will be operating around the map. So as long as we know that Shell is off and our cage is good, this Morgan Le Fay is, very reminiscent of, a certain Sam Raimi movie from, the 2000s where you're going nowhere. I've got you for 15 minutes. And Morgan Le Fay only needs, 2? So
we'll see how long the Morgan Le Fay needs. Let's get our way into the band, see who's going where. Game coming at you live right here, right now. For those of you just now joining us, Hold That up against Mushroom Kingdom. It is a crazy matchup. Making our way into the game, Morty on the mic, joined by Musi in the booth. We've got behind the scenes, Jithens, Testai, and Solstice, making all these colorful lights you see on screen happen. And look at what we've got. Chang'e Best, aspect of Downpour in mid lane with the Yamoja. Koja Fox on the Charon, Port Degree took Sobek into solo and looking for an early invade. Mushroom Kingdom have 5 members circled around the Gold Fury pit, but Hold That. Realize what's going down, they back off.
Speaking of aspects, Snatty is base Morgan Le Fay. So we don't have that aspect of the Cursed Crown. So she'll be able to keep the dragons and everything there. Huh.
Minions have spawned.
Regular Morgan Le Fay and solo. What are we playing Smite 1? I remember that. I remember the days. I think every solo laner remembers that in Shutters, of when it was like Morgan Le Fay versus Poseidon for a season or something terrible like that. You're just like, oh my goodness. Snatty brings us a blast to the past here. And just says, yeah, no, actually, just regular old Morgan Le Fay is just as irritating to lane against as it was before. So we just rock that for sure. But I think there are going to be a lot of eyes on how this Yemoja is able to perform with that aspect of the downpour.
Well, wave clear is pretty solid. We saw that. that was pretty sick. I won't lie to you. Yeah, shout out to Bluestone. Bluestone definitely did some work there, but just, throw the one at the wave and look, already done and done with the neutral camp over there, and then heading over to red right after. I think there's a lot of potential here. A lot of potential. Now, obviously, it needs to unfold, but if anybody can do it, it's Changi Best. I've got a lot of respect for Changi Best as far as a player. They've definitely got very high skill. We haven't talked about them too much throughout Smite Prime, but I mean, I've played up against them a couple times, and it's been rough. It's not fun.
They kind of own me. No big deal. Keep it humble, Mort. I like that. But this aspect of the downpour, too, some noteworthy changes for the uninformed. It shifts Yemoja from a support character more to a damage-dealing character. One of the big changes is like how her 2 works. It doesn't heal your allies as much as it bounces off of your opponents, and it deals a bunch of damage. So, also, it grants intelligence per hit and the Moonstrike, so she doesn't have her stun anymore. Loses some CC, but gains a ton of damage.
Now, a small but relevant part here is that Sunprod is going to be benefiting a lot from the shield, right? Now, the 2, Mending Waters, now does specifically shield damage, along with the regular damage it does. If they have a shield, it hurts them even more. So Phantom Shell from Bayro, you've got a shield with her 2 from Sunprod. And look who just showed up over here on the right side of the map. Rabbit goes in for a gank, finds a stun, Snatty's taken down a low, but Port Degree can't follow because Port Degree got almost soloed right before that.
And to build off of what you're saying before, yeah, Hold That utilizes shields pretty effectively here, so having that Yemoja to deal that extra shield damage will be pretty handy, especially when looking at that Odin jungle that's going to be out and about here so far. Snatty jumped on by Rabbit, who went for the double dip, and no, first blood to Rabbit.
Very nice. Great rotation. A great follow-up to Port Degree and make it happen. Rabbit gets the kill. And that's a guy that you don't want to snowball. Rabbit needs to be taken down quick. And Sunprod needs to keep those firebrands in check. They're spawning right now as we speak. Rabbit cannot dominate those brands. Otherwise, mid-game will be rough for Hold That. If Rabbit can dive straight on top of Zapman and Kaidon, sure, you've got escapes through Flicker and the dash from Apollo and the Chariot as well, but you don't want just Rabbit to force those away from you, right? Look at Rabbit go. Rabbit's going for Sunprod, ults out, and decent damage being dealt, but a great stun off the Gungir's Might will slow down Sunprod. Disease will the bleed kill Sunprod? Yes, it will. Oh my god.
I mean, between that disease and the lash there from the Kali and a little bit of Bluestone, looks like the shield was not up there in time for Sunprod. So you were talking earlier, Rabbit off to a good start. Kali's a late game hyperscaling character, and Odin now conversely is taking an early knee. So the scales tip ever so slightly in the favor of Mushroom Kingdom to start things off. And this is Kali without the aspect, so she does have the ability to just live through a team fight with that ultimate. So with some extra gold, the ability to engage, and the ability to not die, Rabbit is going to be a very big problem very quickly for Hold That. So already we got to think about ways to start to turn that off and shut that down.
Mm-hmm. And not only just live through the fight, but deal a lot of damage doing so. Look at that first pickup. Daybreak Gavel.
Excuse me?
In the world? What? Can we please look? I don't ask for this often. Solstice, please, can we get a hover to try and make sense of this? Like we're throwing so many curveballs from Mushroom Kingdom.
I mean, so Daybreak Gavel is an item that gives you either strength or intelligence, depending on what you have more of. And when you heal something, your next ability deals extra damage. There's a whole fight happening in Duo. Mario Bro.
By the way,
just barely escapes. Yeah.
Mario Bro
Rabbit's here,
is
too.
taking a lot of. Oh, the chariot under the tower, and it finds the kill. Mario Bro dead, but Summon Sticks follows through. Zapman barely jukes, a great play, but look who just showed up. Rabbit's there for revenge. Bayro has nowhere to go, and leapt on by Rabbit. Bayro is dead, and Zapman can barely make it back to the tier 1 tower. Will Rabbit dive? And a
Oh, the
blink off
bleed!
the throw! Oh my god, all net, no backboard. Incredible throw from Rabbit. Double kill
Swish.
for Kali.
Okay, so remember how like a couple of minutes ago we're like, yeah, Kali's got a little bit of a lead here, could be an issue. Man, how do we stop and slow this down? Not like that. This is a really good start for a character that just usually doesn't get to play the game until later. Very fast Gold Fury, that Sunprod steals!
Sunprod stole it! The Gungears might stole Gold Fury away! You cannot be kept out by the Rivers of Buke. A great play from Sunprod. And keep in mind, the Firebrands went down for Hold Down on the right side of the map too. So that was a great way to catch back up. Now Hold That have a gold lead.
Man, we had a little bit of a break in between these two games, but my eyes are wide open. I'm sat up, I'm awake, I'm leaned in, because holy, doesn't matter that Rabbit's 4-0, Sunprod is still that jungler to be able to walk up and take away that gold. And what a gutsy gold pull that was too from Mushroom Kingdom. I really like the moxie of it. When you say like, okay, no, if we're winning really hard, we can steal this. It's just unfortunate that we didn't have the confirm to make it happen. The emoji walls went up a little bit too late, I feel. We didn't respect what Odin was capable of doing there. Not a mistake that we'll make twice.
That is for certain. You have to put respect on Sunprod. The Jotuns is online. That's a good amount of strength. 40 straight to the dome along with Boombas. And the Blink is ready. Sunprod can make plays pretty easily with the resources that he's given, even this early on. Firebrands coming up here in about 30 seconds or so. Look at Portuguese setting things up, looking for some mana. Utilizes the ult to get some health back. Sandy's not getting chomped today. Portuguese backs up and says, all right.
Not too bad, right? Ult for ult, not the worst trade in the world. Mid-pad spawning in about 5 seconds. Koja Fox is here to stand along with Chunga Best, who doesn't have ultimate, so Mushroom Kingdom have to be careful and wait for the cooldowns of their Yamoja mid laner.
Gemma Focus, by the way, with the Bluestone. Like, if you would have shown me this 6 months ago, I would have just like, nah, this is a trip. Like, I couldn't believe this. But look at Koja Fox going in, setting up with the root. Kaidon put in place for a moment. Rabbit over the wall, but can't find an in. But meanwhile, over here on the left side, diving forward, Mario Bro looks for Zapman. Mario Bro has just soloed Zapman. This is a crazy world we're living in. Mushroom Kingdom up on top at the 8-minute mark. They've got control over the mid lane pad. They're winning just about every single lane. Hold That have been checked for the first time in quite a while.
Well, keep in mind too, Hold That is a team that is able to hold that for a bit. Their plan is to get to that late game and look for that turning point around that Moonlight Queen Naga and those Fire Giant fights. So, if you're Mushroom Kingdom, don't let it get to your head, you know?
Yep.
Stay humble.
True.
And make sure that we keep playing the map, but we don't take things for granted. You have to exacerbate your lead as much as possible, because Hold That is a team that can get to that late game point through hell or high water. Also, Morn, what is Rabbit building? What's going on? You see this?
Yeah, I'm taking for quite a bit of a spin as well. Aegis forced away from Kaidon, flickers forward, but Chang'e gets the kill through Mending Waters. Down goes the mid laner for Hold That. It's Sunprod alone trying to defend the tier 1 against the pusher and 3 members of Mushroom Kingdom. The Odin Cage put down. Sunprod goes in over the walls. Barrow diving deep into the back line. Scylla ult out. I'm a Monster does decent damage, but in the air goes Zapman. Teleports in, and the one goes out. So beautiful is Chang'e's death. A great play from Zapman, and Rabbit goes into the ult, fighting their way out of this. What can Rabbit do right after? Dash straight into the back line and looking for a way out through the other side of the jungle, but a crush over the wall will shut down Rabbit. Bayro gets the kill. 2 dead members of the Mushroom Kingdom slaughtered in the middle lane, and Hold That back in action.
Oh my goodness. So Mushroom Kingdom have established a bit of a pattern here for us to see, in that they will win a fight and then look for just a little bit too much. We are going for just a bit more than we can actually handle and trying to take an early dive on that T1 tower instead of just getting our kills, backing up, and seeing what other farm we might be able to take away. The fact that we stuck around so long enables Hold That to make their TPs in, and this global presence from the Apollo is something that you have to recognize. Anytime that you're in the middle of a fight, you have to think to yourself in the back of your head, Zapman is around the corner, and I need to be careful.
Bayro hovering around the purple buff, looking to steal it away from Mario Bro. Throws a crush over the wall, but a tad bit too late. Barely off the mark. Bayro won't steal. Mario Bro gets the purple buff, and Firebrand spawning in a moment. Gold Fury ready to be taken at a moment's notice. 11 minutes into the game, 3-6. Mushroom Kingdom have the lead in kills, but 1,000 gold lead for Hold That. It feels neck and neck.
Kali has got her Echo online, as well as a little bit of crit, I believe, with that Damaru. So she's just going to be swinging, huh? And I'm still thinking to myself where the Daybreak Gavel fits in everything. I mean, she... Oh my goodness. She heals on her jump, doesn't she?
What? No, wait, you're right. You're right. The ball knowledge from Rabid is out of this world. They could be teaching at Harvard with this kind of knowledge. It is crazy as the Oracle is being sought after. Hold That, get them. And now they've got vision over the Gold Fury. Should Mushroom Kingdom want to take that down, Hold That will at least know. But Pyromancer online and ready to be taken at a moment's notice as well. I mean, a lot of map to look at for both teams. Mushroom Kingdom wants to further their kill lead. I mean, they've went pedal to the metal so far and found some kills. It's time to capitalize on these kills you're getting.
But it's interesting, too, because Hold That has been able to get a really good swing back every time the Mushroom Kingdom steps a little bit too far over the line. So Hold That is able to maintain just a hair of a gold lead to maybe dissuade Mushroom Kingdom from doing anything too silly or too crazy, which is interesting to think about because they had such an explosive early game that's kind of fizzled out at this point, and this is really where Hold That likes to thrive. As long as they can live through the initial pandemonium that the other team throws their way, they have great scalers with Apollo, with the Merlin, and this Odin cage will always be relevant as long as Snatty can get a little bit more protections online, like the Genji's guard to go with the breastplate Jotuns, so that they're constantly throwing down cages and getting their shields that they need in order to keep their health bar up.
And Hold That playing up against Clocked In so much as they have for quite some time. Players like Sunprod, Kaidon, Snatty, Bayro have learned a thing or two about the middle game that you talked about, the macro play. When there's a lot of objectives to look at, Gold Fury, Pyro, mid lane pad, Queen Naga at the 15-minute mark, every decision, every second matters so much, and that's where Hold That thrive. Mushroom Kingdom haven't gotten used to that pressure like this just yet, especially up against a team like Hold That. So how they operate going forward is going to be very important, but they can't be losing supports like that. Bayro falls on the left side of the map. That's the green light for Mushroom Kingdom. They're starting to burn on the Gold Fury. Snatty and Port Degree fight over here in solo, down to 4k health on the gold. Koja Fox hovering, Sunprod ready for another potential steal, but, well, a little bit early. Summon Sticks finds a fear, down to 1,000. Gungear Smite ready to throw. Who's going to get it? Mario Bro secures the Gold Fury. Rivers of Youth to throw down, but Sunprod jumps over the wall. Zapman's going to barely live through the chariot. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, Rapid went for the bleed yet again, but this time the Apollo was just a little bit too tanky. Great Yamoja ultimate there to force the ultimate away from Zapman. And that exchange is going to tie up the game for us a bit there. Sport Degree is looking a little worse for wear, lurking waters, but Kaidon cleans it up here. So Hold That will be able to find a kill for all their troubles.
And Bayro shows up here in mid lane, looking for a potential kill on Koja Fox. Goes into I'm a Monster to get some damage out, but whiffs 2 out of the 3 shots. No hat trick today. It's all right, Bayro. That one didn't really matter too much, right? I'll let that one slide because it felt relatively not important. But what is important is you keep your distance from Rabid, who's around the corner in the bushes. Rabid goes straight for Sunprod, looking to duke it out. But Sunprod recognizes game, jumps over the wall and says, "Not now, look up."
I am not interested in swimming in those waters. No siree, Bob. Right, put it away. No thanks. So Mushroom Kingdom now, with that Gold Fury that they just got, and confirmed it well and proper this time, will be able to get out of the base 50% faster for a few seconds. So it'll be handy for them to get access to their farm, but now the question is, where do you go from here? And honestly, Moonlight Naga is going to be spawning right around the corner, and I like Mushroom Kingdom's team fight. This Umoja ultimate, knowing that it's going to be attached to a bunch of damage, means that you just can't really fight in that area at all. Like, that's just not a place you want to be, so Mushroom Kingdom looks really good in these jungle corners.
But hiding out in the Odin cage, Summon Sticks utilized, provides some space for Koja Fox, but Bayro so gets the kill. One down for Mushroom Kingdom, and exactly at this 15-minute mark, that's when Hold That press forward and go for a kill, because look at what they can grab in the meantime. While Koja Fox is dead, Queen Naga, Sun Prods are around, grabs Vision, and then goes for the burn on it, waiting for the rest of Hold That to show up to it. Pyromancer can be taken as well, and Mushroom Kingdom just sitting in lane right now. They're not even going to go for a contest because they know it's not going to be worth the idea to steal, I guess.
It's just a hard fight to take. Moonlight Queen Naga is confirmed by Hold That. Mushroom Kingdom weren't able to get it in time. Just an unfortunate time for Koja Fox to be picked off there, because as much damage as Kingdom has, they lack a front line. Hello, Bayro is.
Rabid, please. Chang'e goes forward. Will the Bee do it? Moonstrike gets the kill. Chang'e Best is showing out. You know, the player damage might be low, but with a little skirmish like that, how much damage was dealt, this Umoja mid pick has some potential.
It is able to get a lot of movement out there for Mushroom Kingdom. Now they take a look at the Pyromancer. Solid consolation prize. So you'd be able to pick that up, because part of the main reason to take that Moonlight Queen Naga, Port Degree is dead, that Moonlight Queen Naga, is that you're able to find that consumable that helps you burn through objectives. But the other objectives available was Pyro and Gold. Pyro's dead, Gold's not up, so far so good for Mushroom Kingdom. It's not the best trade, but it's something you'll take.
Yeah, you kind of have to just take what you get, and I think that's completely fine. Meanwhile, Zatman split pushing up the left side. We talked about the power of this Apollo pick, just kind of constantly split pushing up the left. Meanwhile, three members of Mushroom Kingdom fighting here in the mid lane, and Port Degree is dead. Rabbit showing up a little bit later, but better late than never. And look who's around the corner. Rabbit's still hanging out and just going to go for farm, right? That's just, you know, it goes uncontested from Mushroom Kingdom. They kind of just showed up to look, but couldn't do much.
Your team has destroyed a left enemy
That
tower.
man does have that Sunbeam Bow available. Pair it with the Audi Bow, so the ability to hold left click is strong with this one. A lot of damage to towers and objectives and everything. Even though Sunbeam just doesn't do as much to those things, still gets your damage across and still makes them very hard to box too. So Zapman has hit a pretty solid power spike here, especially with the Titan's Bane right around the corner. Mushroom Kingdom, though, chasing them all the way to the purple buff. Zapman with the Sunbeam Bow experiences a lot of mana problems, so he's got to back before he can rejoin the fight here. Although it doesn't appear to be a fight at all. Pushers on the map means that Mushroom Kingdom have to acknowledge it more, so they can't play for the map at large. They got to look for picks and clear these pushers.
Meanwhile, Gold Fury is getting burned away. Sunprod, Zapman show up and start the burn. Kaidon's on the way. That thing's going to burn down quick. You've got a lot of burn, especially with the attack speed buff that Gungir's Might can provide. Yeah, down it goes.
Yes.
Kaidon secures it. Another Gold Fury for Hold That. And now is when we see the real, you know, thriving potential behind Hold That. It might have looked rough a little bit earlier, but the macro play favors Hold That's experience, I think.
You're right on the mark there, too. And I'm glad you mentioned the Gungir's Might auto attack speed boost that you get, because a character like Apollo benefits from it really, really greatly when they're building things like Audi Bow and Sunbeam Bow. And one of the smaller notes, and not even smaller note, it's a pretty big note, but something that we take for granted nowadays in Smite 2, there's not really a cap to attack speed. If you can get it up there, you can throw out a lot of autos. You do not have to limit yourself to the 2.5 maximum that Smite 1 had. You can go well and further beyond. So Apollo passive, Gungir's Might, all the attack speed that you're building, and Zapman just goes all on top of an objective, and it just gets completely destroyed.
Yeah, especially in the Sunbeam Bow helps out so much with that. Zapman alone under the tier 1. Rabbit. Whoa. Hiding into the chariot. Daddy kills Port Degree over in solo. Koja Fox looking for revenge, but there's a fight in duo as well. Look on the chariot. Look at where they're going to land. Right on top of Rabbit, who's in trouble, but hits the ult. Rabbit's going forward and wants revenge, but Zapman gets the kill. Rabbit has been put down, and into the air goes Mario Bro, but where will they land? Aegis forced out. I'm a monster, can't be juked. Bayro gets another. Down go two members of Hold That. And are Mushroom Kingdom 3, I guess, if you want to count Port Degree and Solo. And Pyromancer can be taken, but nobody's really around there. I guess we'll just have to push out the lanes and get a bit of farm in the process.
Kydon can take a look at the mid T1, but Mushroom Kingdom swarms to defend it. We put a lot into our counter gank in the solo lane from Mushroom Kingdom, which means that they weren't able to look for something on the solo side of the map immediately afterwards because we had to back because Snatty, for as much as they can do, so much damage on this Morgan Le Fay who has gone full damage, by the way. Just gets to be tanky by virtue of all the heals, and if you walk up to them, you end up tanking a whole bunch of damage from things like Soul Reaver and the Gemma Focus Tahuti combination. Very mobile, very hard hitting. But Hold That is only relying on this Scylla to be the tank, as well as Sun Prod, but we lack a real well and true front line. You know what I mean? We lack the big beefy boy to stand in front of everybody. Because Odin wants to throw down the cage and then leave. We're not really interested in sticking around too much longer after that. So I wonder how Mushroom Kingdom will be able to play into that, knowing that there's just a lot of squishies for Rabbit to choose from to engage upon.
Barrow might be out of position, but leaps away. Yeah, I see what you mean. I definitely see what you mean. A crush goes out, and Kydon does some damage on to Koja Fox, who rows their boat back to the tier 1 tower in mid lane. I see what you mean. I think it's less about the tankiness and more so about the escape potential that Hold That have between, you've got a jump from Barrow that goes quite a distance, the chariot and the dash from Zapman. Kydon's got the flicker. Odin's got to jump over the wall, and Snatty has a CC immune ultimate that gives him healing. It's just going to be hard for Mushroom Kingdom to dive. I think that's really what the hardest issue will be. It's not about dealing the damage, it's getting the potential to even try to deal the damage, you know? Barrow hiding over here in solo, lurking in the waters, force away, summon sticks, finds a slow, looking for the chomp. Barrow's not low just yet though. Yogi is able to save his life from the chomp, but will it save his life at all? Port Degree gets the kill through Sickening Strike. A great play from Port Degree and the rest of Mushroom Kingdom showing up over here in solo. But look at Zapman in the air. Rapid goes straight into the back line and takes down Snatty. Where will Zapman land? Back on their side of the jungle. Doesn't want to get picked off. Sunprod can't say the same. Dashing over, looking for an escape, but Time Lock Aegis locks them in place and finds a jump. And the Riptide will pull Sunprod back to the team. 3 dead for Hold That. This looks like FG.
Mushroom Kingdom, I mean, Hold That don't have the frontline tanks, and yes, they do have mobility, but they don't have the ability to soak damage. And Mushroom Kingdom, if they're able to invade the space that Hold That creates, then it just doesn't matter. We're able to connect. Kydon looking to try to zone out Port Degree, but the big scary crocodile is able to play that bodyguard. Mushroom Kingdom will find themselves that fire giant. They'll hit a quick back. And I imagine that they want to take a look at that Gold Fury if they can, so Zapman is going to try to take it first. Gutsy, I like it, but this is what I was worried about more. Because if Mushroom Kingdom is able to get that engage off, it's not looking good for anybody from Hold That, because they just can't take the damage.
But they can take the Gold Fury at least. That'll be their 3rd one of the game. Macro play coming out on top yet again. I think that's what it leads to. Will the team fights come out on top for the game? Will team fighting win the game for Mushroom Kingdom? Or will Hold That be able to win this game through macro play? One solid fight, you know, maybe a pick or two, and then run down the rest of the team, and then end the game after. It's really, you know, this strategical, you know, tactical play rather than just blood-spilling massacre from Mushroom Kingdom. It's 2 play styles up against each other.
Mushroom Kingdom now with this FG power play for 3 minutes or so. Oh, Yamoja, you don't stun that tower anymore, by the way. So you have the aspect. Just to throw that out there.
Oh, true.
That does make the push a little tricky, because that's one of the strengths of Yamoja. So Hold That can kind of play for the space again, which is very good when it comes to tower defenses and Phoenix sieges, where you can just kind of keep Mushroom Kingdom away from the objective.
Oh, great pluck. A blink pluck play. It puts Kydon in place, but an Odin wall thrown down to follow. Mushroom Kingdom in a rough spot. Obsidian Dagger right from Mario Barreau. But Hold That aren't hitting the go button. Sunprod threw the cage down and kind of waited for an opportunity. Not much more you can do than that. Kydon had some damage to throw. But what can be the follow-up? Mushroom Kingdom got what they wanted. They wanted a way to the bird in the mid lane, and they got it. Now they run.
150 seconds. Ancient Gold here hit the field. Mushroom Kingdom, they did expose that mid Phoenix. And for as much strength as they have with that FG, you can absolutely see that Hold That is able to play with the space very well. Things like the Odin Cage, Morgan Le Fay has got giant abilities that can CC, Kaidan is Merlin, so of course there is just so many spaces that are just not safe for Mushroom Kingdom to stay around in for too long, so they gotta go for the Sobek pluck, they gotta find that engage, and then they gotta get out, but it's always worth mentioning, Port Degree and the Sobek, when they pluck in, they put themselves out of position to take somebody else out of position. A talking point for Sobek as old as time. And as we are here in the late game, we are going to start seeing that rear its ugly head. So maybe a little bit more tenacity for the Sobek, so that they can live through the counter CC that happens afterwards. Pridwin is helpful, Spirit Robe will help get him there, but I still worry about the potential damage that could befall our crocodile friend.
You know, I think it's interesting that you bring up the Pridwin too, because Pridwin scales off of all your protections. Items like Glad Shields, they specifically scale off your item protections, right? But Pridwin scales off of all protections that you have, including his passive, Blessing of the Nile. So if you wait for your passive to be completely in effect, and then you activate Pridwin, you get just that much more efficiency and that much bigger of a shield, that much more damage from the explosion. I think that Pridwin is a huge pickup here, followed by the Life Binder, which gives you a little more survivability. Let's say you land Sickening Strike. You apply the disease, which does a dot over time, the damage over time, dot. That's what it stands for. I don't know why I said damage over time, dot, whatever.
Gulp?
Oh, okay, Zapman's in the air. Whoa, 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 what's going on here? Summon Sticks utilized. Koja Fox looking to get out, but locked in place by the Odin Cage. And look at Port Degree, looking for the backline. Kaidan forced to flicker away. Mario Bro just killed Zapman. Rapid blinks forward, finds a two-man stun. Snatty is dead. Same with Zapman. Sunprod down as well. Oh my God, Rapid triple kill. Bayro, the only one left alive. Mushroom Kingdom could end the game here.
I mean, you've got health bars, everybody is pretty much dead. Zamban gets caught in the ammo wall and is dead. Yeah, Pusher's here too. Oh my God, the burger's cooked, the cheese is real, it's dripping.
And the I'm a Monster won't do much but buy time. But will it be enough time for everyone to respawn? No, it won't. Mushroom Kingdom just showed up in a really big way, but low health bars.
Oh, wait.
Hero's able to get one kill. 1,000 health on the Titan. A triple kill, but barely not enough. Mushroom Kingdom have just defeated Hold That.
Oh my goodness. The other boogeyman in the bracket brought low by Yamoja Mid Aspect of Downpour. Get ready to ban it in all of your ranked games, because Chunga Best just put it on the big screen for you.
Dude. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to say things here, but I'm shocked. I'm speechless. Did you see what just happened? Did you see how this game went down? A shocker of a game. This is the biggest upset in Smite Prime history.
It's big. You gotta hand it to Mushroom Kingdom. They were able to find their wins where they needed them to be. Really solid pressure in the early game. You know that Hold That wants to play for the late anyways, but it looked like that Scylla was just moved up a little bit too much in that left-hand side. Hold That go for the engage, but Zapman gets left all alone, and that really gives Rabbit a chance to kind of go in and cause havoc. And again, there was just not enough health bars to dissuade the damage that was coming out from Mushroom Kingdom. We did not... I keep saying it, but for all the space that we make, it doesn't matter if Mushroom Kingdom can just cross into it and kill you anyways.
Look, I'm a big supporter of Hold That. I was a big fan when they first started taking down Clocked In and really giving them a run for their money. Big fan of players like Bayro, Snatty, Sunprod, but for now, Hold That are going to have to hold that L, because Mushroom Kingdom threw them a curveball that no members of Hold That were expecting. And it just look at the damage numbers weren't even that crazy. It was just, so much done by, Rabbit in the early game, and Port Degree, got some great plucks in. Chang'e had some great damage as well. Mario Bro started to get online at the very end. A great setup from Koja Fox, who somehow had the highest damage dealt on their team. That's a crazy stat, by the way, Koja Fox.
W Koja Fox.
Yeah.
Going crazy out there. What do you know? And I'm also surprised that the Charon has been making its reappearance here. We've had a couple of games where Charon's been looking pretty good so far, so
Yeah.
definitely something to keep an eye out in your own drafts. So, I mean, hey, if it ain't broke, if it works, it works. You can't really argue with results.
Finals are up next. A best of 3 with Mushroom Kingdom up against guess who? We'll find out when we get back after a couple minutes. We'll see you then. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the April circuit of Smite Prime. Week 2 is here, and the grand finals are upon us. My name is Morty, and I'm here with the whole Prime crew, Jithin, Solstice, Test Dive behind the scenes, making all these pretty colors you see on screen happen. And with me here in the booth is Musi, who, when we just watched a wild game, and we'll cover that here in a little bit as we make our way through our little intro before the grand finals are upon us. The prizing is what we got to talk about first, what these players are fighting for, and that is $7,000. They spend the first 3 weeks, the 4th, 11th, and the 18th, to qualify for the close bracket on the 25th, and then the top 8 teams will fight there to win the $7,000. Up next is the art shop, shop.smiteprime.com. You can head on over and find all the cool little trinkets and things that you might like. We've got posters, we've got mouse pads, we've got phone cases, we've got the Horus Tumbler, and you can use code SMITE on the shop to get 10% off the shop. Take us to the brackets, Tess.
Oh, I was close. I was close with the stinger. Looks like Mind the Gap not able to hold that, indeed. Or rather, Mind the Gap versus hold that up there. Single bind, Mushroom Kingdom is going to be our finals today. And I got to tell you, I was not expecting this, Mort. But I have to say, I'm pretty stoked. Mushroom Kingdom has been looking like they have been on fire. And Single Bind is a team that has been proven time and time again. So I know we've got a banger on our hands.
Now, Mushroom Kingdom have participated in Smite Prime quite a bit, right? But one thing they haven't had to deal with in Smite Prime yet, because it's only in the grand finals, is the vault ban system. Meaning, in a best of 3 set, which is the grand finals, once a god is played, that god is locked away in the vault and cannot be picked by either team for the rest of the set. If Team A plays Thor in Game 1, neither team can use Thor in Games 2 or 3. Now, bans don't carry over, only picks. So if a god is banned in Game 1, they'll still have to be banned in Games 2 and 3, but picks alone are locked away.
Well, at least if the Pele gets through, they'll only get through once and never again. I don't think we get to see her for the rest of the day. I'm not going to lie to you.
No, I don't think so.
Pretty good. But for other mainstay picks like the Newt that finds its way through, Baron Samdi, another really solid one. Yamoja Mid, which is something that we keep in the back pocket in case of emergencies. Holy cheese. Well, you'll only be able to rip that once. So make sure that you keep it and use it when the time is right. Else you could find yourself with no toys and only sadness.
I like to bring up something interesting that I heard a while back, right? I'm sure a lot of you know the name Weekend. Some of you are fans, some of you might roll your eyes. But he said one thing, right? And that he said a lot of the top players are not using the most efficient picks. And I think there's a little bit of truth to that, because we just saw Yamoja Aspect in mid lane win the semifinals of Smite Prime. There's a little bit of ball to that. I think that, you know, we as more experienced players, me and you, Musi, we look at some of the lower level players when we're playing out with our friends or whatever, and we say that's not really meta right now. That's not really the most meta thing. That doesn't really work right now. But I think that, you know, what we just saw has opened me up to go ahead, try it out, experiment a little bit. Ratspec came out yesterday, Musi, and you were playing Smite game on stream right before this, and you were fragging out with it. So, like I said, I mean, you never know what to expect with some of these picks. Can Aspect Morgan Le Fay work? Can Callie carry work? You know, try these new things, try them out, and you never know what's going to be good.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Yamoja Mid with the Aspect of the Downpour did look fairly playable. I think you need to build a team comp around it, but Mushroom Kingdom was able to make that team comp work for it. So I'll be interested to see if they decide to go back to it again as we move on over to the picks and bans.
Let's take a look. Now, if this picks and bans phase is anywhere near as exciting as the last one was, I think we're going to be in for a good time is making our way in. Single Bind and Mushroom Kingdom. Donut Doug Aurora up against Mario Bro, Koja Fox. So again, you've got some big dogs. If Mario Bro is able to take down Zapman, we saw Mario Bro solo Zapman. If he's able to make that happen, I think that, Donut Doug is still going to give him a run for his money, but I'm not underestimating Mario Bro by any means.
A Langley fan, if I'm not mistaken, is Sino.
Yeah. Yep.
Don't let me know. But so Sino versus
right.
Shadow in the jungle. Shadow, Rabbids was moving kind of crazy out there for Mushroom Kingdom. So I can imagine that this should be another really good one to watch out for. Knowing that Naja tank isn't as strong, I wonder if we'll get a chance to see the Sino Naja jungle with some extra damage. But I'll tell you what we won't be seeing. The Yamoja. Single bind, respect ban. The Yamoja away from Shugga Best.
That is wild. That's wild. Can you imagine one game it gets on the main screen on broadcast and Single Bind take one look and they say, no, we're not dealing with that. There's not a chance, not a sliver of a chance, not even a 16th or a 32nd of a chance that we handle that. Instead, we'll pick up the Jingwei, take that away from Mario Bro because that's a comfort pick for him. We'll take it on our side. Donut Doug loves the pick too.
I mean, really solid pick. Does a lot of damage towards the late game. Interesting that we see the Jingwei before the Onher. And I don't think it's because Onher has fell out of grace or anything like that. I think it just kind of comes down to what you prefer. And Donut Doug can 100% rip on this Jingwei. The Sobek hover here for Mushroom Kingdom makes me think that it could go to Port Degree, but instead, we look at the Apollo. So I'm kind of interested to see what Mushroom Kingdom cook up here.
Yeah, I like the Apollo much better because let's say you're Sobek and Sobek's picked up. Incredible. We'll save it for second rather than first. It's still in the same round, but whatever. Imagine that you plug Jingwei, right? You take her up into the air. You know what she can do? She can just dash out of that's how she works, right? Her 3, you can use it while you're airborne. So just dash back to a safe position, and then the pluck is just kind of rendered useless, aside from the fact that how you mentioned last game with the Sobek pick, that it puts you out of position. So you kind of put yourself in a rough spot. Jingwei is still safe regardless. Maybe you hit the tail whip, maybe you hit the sickening strike, and maybe you slow her down with lurking in the waters, but all just, don't really equate to what a pluck would bring to the table. Vulcan and Neja join the fight for Single Bind. Athena and Neith. Okay, we're cooking.
Yeah, this is good cookery. Vulcan, though. Again, it's another pick that we don't really see too much of, especially in the mid lane, which is where I have to assume he's heading. Oh? No, because Cupid and Artio, that makes sense. But like Hecate was open, Discordia was open, Merlin was open, but we're reaching for the Vulcan first. So Single Bind have a ton of objective confirm and burn. Great circles for their team fights. I think the Vulcan is just here to play off of the Naja ultimate to ultimate. Not trying to overthink it too much here. It's just the peanut butter and jelly combination.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. There's a lot to love there. But I think where my eyes are really sitting on is Athena over here for Mushroom Kingdom. Athena kind of fell out of grace with there's some popularity for a while, right? Throughout the Founder series, Athena Jungle was very popular. You pick up, Transcendence and then Hydro, something like that, maybe some crit or, just full strength, whatever you're feeling, and you get a lot of damage there. But I feel like Athena support has recently showed up with this Boomba's Cudgel that has become very popular since the starters rework. And there's a lot to love because you're able to utilize Boomba's very well with Athena. The reach proc with her passive can let you hit the Boombas on multiple guys instead of just one, and it's a lot easier to hit considering its range. It doesn't have to be melee. Throw it at a wave. Throw it at a god. Throw it at a freaking minion. I mean, whatever. Throw it at something to get the proc off, get your cooldowns back, and then you're... yeah, whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter. And we've seen a lot of success from it. Face Ed, formerly known as Kaizo, picked this up on the Easter Invitational, and it worked out very well. And, I mean, here we are on Smite Prime, and it's good. So we'll see how it goes. Making our way into the game. Grand Finals of Week 2. Single Bind up against the Mushroom Kingdom. Coming at you live, Game 1 of a best of 3. If you're just now joining us, Morty on the mic, joined by Musi in the booth. We've got Testai, Jithens, and Solstice behind the scenes, making all these pretty colors happen. And now that we've got our races and our places, what are our thoughts here, Muse?
Well, It makes sense to see what we have so far, except it's not Naja jungle, it's Cupid jungle, Naja support. So even with the recent hotfix changes, we are still sticking with the old tried and true of the Naja support. Still works well with the Vulcan in terms of the 1-2 punch, but Cupid jungle is not something that we get a chance to see frequently. But I'll tell you what, Fields of Love can work very well when it's rotating between a bunch of characters that rely on dashes. If you look at everybody from Mushroom Kingdom, every character here gets cooked by a Fields of Love.
Minions
Giant
have
circle that
spawned.
cripples
True.
and then pops for damage. That's really tough to deal with. That's a beads burner. That's an Aegis option. And it would seem that Mushroom Kingdom, again, Koja Fox has this blink engage for the Athena, so they could be a prime target for this cripple.
Yeah, there's a lot of counter potential there. I do agree with you. And also the clear seems like it worked pretty well. The Bomba's Dagger, so you clear camps a little bit easier. You've got sustain with your 2 as well with Cupid, so you don't really, fall to the camps. You're going to be full health and full mana almost all the time, healing yourself and dealing damage to camps at the same time. I think that there's a little bit of ball to be had with this Cupid pick in the jungle. Ganks seem like they would work okay. You save up all of your hearts when you're farming, and then you use it for a stun through Heart Bomb, right? When you show up to lane, throw the 1 down. You can even throw it at the wave and then kill a minion real quick, instant stun. There's some ball to be had. Granted, there's a lot of hypotheticals. Like, we could talk about how this works on paper all day. I'd rather see what Sino can do as we make our way through the game. But walk me through the solo lane. You've got 2 formerly known as Guardians, Artio, Sobek over here. This seems like a blast from the past, back when Curse Weaver was the move.
I'll tell you what. Oh, pluck off the mark could be bad for Port Degree, but Ramakami low on the cooldowns, not quite able to finish it off. When it comes to Artio and Sobek, I hand it to Artio because she's got that cripple field to stop the Sobek pluck right in its tracks as he tries to pluck her away. Uh-oh.
Oh my god, Beast forced away, but it won't save Moswall's life. Rapid goes forward and gets first blood.
Unfortunate there. The Vulcan just doesn't have the mobility that you need to get away from a root and the slow from Daji. Now Daji can take the rotation over to the Artio just in time for a Makami.
Good dash right on top of Ramakami, but it won't find the kill. The bear dash will get Ramakami back to the safety of the tower, and Rabid's not diving anytime soon, but I gotta respect this early game damage that Rabid's throwing out. It is very, very nice. Rabid loves to get active early from what we've seen so far in the last game and a little bit of this game. We're hoping that they get a lead, and maybe we can snowball Mushroom Kingdom to victory yet again.
Single Bind, though, they have great counterplay with this Fields of Love from Cupid, and a lot of safety with Donut Doug, who's already had their life threatened a few times by this Mushroom Kingdom dueling. Really, once again, Single Bind is kind of hoping to get their Jingwei and their Vulcan online, but constantly harassed by this Daji. It's going to be kind of tough.
Yeah, I mean, but especially because there's not a lot of mobility. I think you talked about this during picks and bans, the pros and cons of this Vulcan pick. And yeah, you do get some cool things. You get to secure on objectives. You get a lot of zoning potential, but you only get so much. Was that the Chang'e ult, or was that a Spirit Arrow?
That was, so Neath tried to ult there and get on top of Vulcan to finish the rest of their damage off, but there was some minions body blocking the way and the Vulcan turret that got in the way of the damage from the Neath. So luckily for Moswall, they won't be tasting the sting of death today.
Interesting. Very, very interesting playmaking happening in mid lane. I like the effort, though. I think, minions, just casualties, unfortunate, is what it is. Lane pressure for dual lane, single bind pushing up the left side of the map. Another gank attempt from Rabbit over in the solo lane, but single bind solo Ramakami will be okay for now. Firebrands did get picked up. Gold Fury is spawning in about a minute or so. It's been a pretty slow start so far.
I expect Rabbit could make some frequent rotations over to the solo lane in particular because Ramakami has that shell as their relic instead of a beads. So this RDO doesn't have a way to shake off the chains from the powwow from Daji Ultimate. So I would expect that you can kind of farm that RDO for some kills, and Port Degree would need it, knowing that he's into a fairly unfavorable matchup into the ability spamming menace that is the Artio solo.
Yeah, it can be honestly so annoying, especially when you have the Boombas proc to follow with every range basic. Oh, range basics on Artio, by the way. I don't know if y'all knew that. Just to make things that much more annoying to constantly proc the Boombas, you're not going to miss. Well, I guess you missed that one, but it's all right.
Even if you miss the auto, it doesn't consume the Boombas. So it waits until you actually land the auto for the effect to actually happen. So Ramakami can just kind of throw autos out willy-nilly until something hits and gets their cooldown and just go right back to bear business.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That is true. And one thing I'm looking at too is it looks like another Lifebinder pickup for Port Degree over here in solo. This is what Port Degree rushed last time up against Snatties, Morgan Le Fay pick, and again up against this Artio. Just so much healing to be had. You've got so much healing through Sickening Strike, which heals you for multiple minions that you hit, and then Lifebinder to proc as well, and that's pretty easy to proc if you throw a Sickening Strike on top of Port Degree. Meanwhile, there's a fight over here by the Firebrands. Fields of Love is put down. Rabbit gets out of the field, and Defender of Olympus, Koja, just showed up on the right side of the map. Rabbit chasing down Sino, but Mazball around the corner to find the zone, but Rabbit goes over the wall straight onto Sino, looked for safety, but instead went right over Mazball's head. Port Degree chasing after Ramakami. Instead, we'll turn around and go for Mazball. The chop does go off. Down goes Mazball. Eye for an eye. I like that trade.
Not too shabby at all. I mean, Mushroom Kingdom looking really good in these fights. Aurora a little bit late to the party, trying to harass Ashanga Best from their wave. But I really like the way that Rabid plays these ganks. The patience to not hit Mazwall when there's a Vulcan in front of you, right? To hold on to your damage, to your abilities, because you know that who you need to connect with is LL Langley fan, is Sino. So, being able to connect on top of that, and then you have your ultimate. They also didn't use their ultimate in response to the Fields of Love. They just walked out of it. It's just so much good patience there from Rabbit. If they can keep this up, this is a very, very good start for Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah, absolutely right. Is Mushroom Kingdom will lose out on this Gold Fury, though. Single Bind starts the burn and burns it quick. That's one of the pros about this Cupid jungle. You've got a lot more damage to throw out. I mean, as far as DPS goes on an objective, than what other junglers could offer you. Thanatos, not burning that. Pele, maybe. You know, there's options, but Cupid, especially with the buff you get, Strength and Intelligence from an Empowered 2, you're just going to burn that thing down by yourself, and Donut Doug rotates over to help with the burn. That Gold Fury's gone quick.
I'm interested to see what the rest of the Cupid build looks like here. Golden Blade and then Skegox. We could be looking at a shield splitter for this Cupid. So kind of a tank Cupid jungle build, or more so looking at like a proc effect build. The reason why we pick up the shield splitter too is because you get the protections that scale with your Golden Blade, but also it just has like a solid amount of strength attached to it still, and an ability that you can activate to get true damage off that also deals extra damage to shields and steals the shields away from them to give it to you. So it is just an all-around good item to have. It gives you a nice power spike.
Feels the love put out, followed by the Powwow. 3 chains landed right onto Sino. And the Sino dashes back to the safety of the jungle. Koja Fox taken up for a ride. Mazball's got damage to take down Koja. And Rabbit almost put down by Donut Doug. Dashed away to get to safety. Doug almost found the kill, but a tad bit off the mark. Koja falls in mid lane, and the Beacon's presence is taken up by Single Bind. And looks like that's it.
I mean, again, the old 1-2 punch of Naja ultimate into Vulcan ultimate. A tale as old as the characters have been in the game. Still works here in the modern day of Smite 2. And unfortunately for a character like Athena, who doesn't have an instantaneous way to try to dash away or get out, even if Single Bind's timing is even slightly off, they are cooked. So a good response there from Single Bind, and kind of putting Rabbit on a bit of a leash as well, just to show that you are lethal, you can stand up to them. And you can't walk around willy-nilly doing whatever they want to do.
That's true. You have to be careful. Positioning is everything against the comp. But Firebrand's getting taken down by Single Bind. Seems like Single Bind are doing great macro play-wise. I feel like that's got to be Mushroom Kingdom's weaker spot as far as the strengths and weaknesses of that team. I feel like they're really good with ganks, with matchups. They know picks and bans very well, but macro play doesn't ever seem like it's been their strongest suit. You got to show up to these brands. You got to be around for the Gold Fury. And once that 15-minute mark goes around, Muse, we talked about this last game. When Queen Naga, Pyromancer, Gold Fury can all be looked at, every second matters.
Just got to make sure that you don't die at awkward spots. Remakami getting jumped on by the dodgy Athena combination and an ethal. Oh, no.
And an ethal. Everything thrown. And the kitchen table thrown at Remakami. Down they go. And rotating over to the middle lane, Rabbit looking for a kill, quite possibly. Palau online, could find a pull. Instead, we're going straight for the dash. Does a good bit of bleed damage onto Mozball, then backs off right after. But there is a fight happening over here in duo lane. Mario Bro under the tower with 200 health. Cupid feels a love thrown over the wall, and Mario Bro hops onto the chariot. But where will they go? Onto the purple buff? Nah, you gotta let that slide. And then landing back down, there goes Mario Bro's ult. But Rabbit showing up. And maybe going for Sino, who backed off the purple right after. A great artillery sash, followed by the Windfire Wheels. Aurora just to grab it up into the air. Aegis forced away, and a heart bomb to follow. Aurora gets the kill. Shut down for Rabbit.
So much put into the solo side means that we don't have the tools necessary to save Rabid on the left-hand side. And Gold Fury spawning in just a few seconds means that Single Bind can take a look at it. So Mushroom Kingdom need to make sure that they have a showing over here on the left-hand side. But already, Ella Langley fan is going to pick it up and start putting the damage onto this Gold Fury. It looks like he's actually soloing it so far.
I challenge you.
And he's able to. That's the power of the Cupid love, baby. You get to heal yourself, and you get to take down the Gold Fury, and Mushroom Kingdom know no better. But rotating over, who can take it? Koja Fox just got vision, ult sent down, and Mozball is able to secure it. A great play from Single Bind. 11 minutes, 2 Gold Furies, and a lot of Firebrands. That's a great lead for them here. They've got a 4K gold lead, and maybe they're down on kills, but high on hopes going forward in the game.
Donut Doug hit by the Mez. Mario Bro is able to pump damage. Neath alt. Get down, Mr. Doug! Boom!
No!
Kicked off. So you do have the global presence from Chang'e Best to respond, but you said it yourself, Mort. Single Bind's objective burn and objective secure and the way that they play the map to pair with that does put them in a position where they can take some deaths. They can lose kills because they're just getting everything else. Aurora about to get completely ganged up on, but I don't think he cares.
Oh. Windfire Wheels takes one up into the air. In big trouble is Aurora, who dashes back through the Circes, but Palau holds him in place. Mozball able to get a kill on a Rabbit in the meantime. Palau can't do too much, and that's a crazy exchange there. Killed on top of the totem. That is bad news for Mushroom Kingdom. Pyromancer is getting looked at, and look at Sino just burning it away by himself. And everybody else from Mushroom Kingdom busy focused on Mozball here in mid lane. Mario Bro caught vision and went straight for Sino. You won't let him have it today. And interrupted and taken down. Aurora looking at Mario Bro, throws a universe ring forward. Able to get the kill as Mozball. Down goes Port Degree. Aurora gets the shutdown, but Mozball falls in the process. 2 dead for Mushroom Kingdom. And Single Bind able to get the Pyromancer. A great Spirit Arrow sent down to do some damage on to Aurora, extremely low. Chang'e Best able to get the kill with the backflip, but Remakami chasing down Chang'e Best. Will you be able to get it? Yes, you will. Another shutdown, and Sino just took down one over on the other side of the map. A Rabbit about to fall. Donut Doug gets the kill. What is going on? There's slaughter across the battleground of the gods. Death everywhere we look.
Single Bind have translated their early objectives into items and have used said items to deal mundo damage to the enemies of Mushroom Kingdom. And just take a look at some of the builds you have out here too. You have this Golden Blade, Avenging Blade combo for Ella Langley fan for Sino. And then the Berserker Shield following up right afterwards. So this Cupid does a ton of damage to objectives. We're just sticking Pyromancers. We're sticking Gold Furies. We know that we have a Vulcan to confirm it. And then we have a ton of damage and survivability after the fact. And any fight that Mushroom Kingdom tries to take in a jungle against this Cupid just opens them up to even more damage because of the slow. So this is just kind of a catapulting start for Single Bind. Not even a start. They picked themselves off the ground. They were like, all right, well, Mushroom Kingdom had some great kill potential early, but keep your head up, boys. Keep your chin up, because we're getting all the stuff on the map. The stuff after the stuff. And from there, we'll just be able to develop a gold lead and win fights.
Aurora pushes away 2 members of Mushroom Kingdom while Single Bind fight over the Oracles. They're able to get him and grab some vision whenever Gold Fury comes around. If Mushroom Kingdom decide to grab it, at least Single Bind will know. Aurora by himself up against 3 members of Mushroom Kingdom, getting dashed on by Rabid. A backflip does a little bit of damage, but also provides some safety because Mazball and Sino just showed up in mid. And look at what's about to spawn. It's that Moonlight Queen. The Queen Naga is ready to be taken. Aurora is in trouble. Windfire Wheels takes Rabbit up for a moment, but what happens when they land? Oh my God! A massive earth shaker just destroyed Rabbit, but Aurora will fall in the process. Mario Bro in the air on the chariot, but dashes back to tower, says, never mind.
I will back up, maybe, perhaps. Remakami decides to push forward, chasing after Koja Fox.
Nothing fruitful found, though. A low health bar for Koja Fox forces them back to base. Sino throws the Fields of Love down, but doesn't trigger the Mez or the stun. Instead, backing up, Chang'e will hide past the speed buff, and the Queen Naga will be taken down by Single Bind. It's down to 15, and Port Degree is around, but gets absolutely crippled and nowhere the Port Degree can go, but watches. Down goes the Queen Naga, but look at Mario Bro defending the Gold Fury. Sino looking to rip another objective, and Mario Bro realizes and says, hey, not today.
Not today. No can has. But Single Bind split the map, forcing Koja Fox to take a look at 2 damage carries, and they cannot stand up to the damage. Mazwal pieces up Koja Fox, and Donut Doug goes back to business. Oh my gosh, before there's anything else crazy going on here, take a look at the Mazwal build. Gemma Focus, bye Donut Doug. Gemma Focus plus the Mercury's Talaria with a character like Vulcan who's constantly schmooving around. Everybody is dying, guys. Can I get a chance to talk?
No, another kill.
No.
Dude,
No.
it's just crazy. Go ahead, Muse.
Well, that was it. No, I mean, this Vulcan
got your
is going
point
to be
across.
moving around a whole bunch and then hitting an ability, and because of Mercury's Talaria, it's going to do extra damage. Backfire, I believe, is considered a movement ability. So, Rabbit?
Rabbit goes forward, right on top of Oswald, but pathfinding won't get you far in combat. Onto the powwow. Oswald gets chained down, and Gold Fury getting ripped. 3 members of Mushroom Kingdom on the gold, but Single Bind are going to take it over. Sino is going to continue the burn, and it goes very quickly. Mushroom Kingdom can't even look at it. Aurora distracts them in the front line. Donut Doug just took down Koja Fox, and running away is a Rabbit. Dashes over the wall onto the camp and escapes safely for now. But Remakami looking for a root, and the root is landed. Windfire Wheels to follow through. Rabbit is surely toast when they land. Down goes another member of Mushroom Kingdom. Donut Doug dashes over the wall. Aurora continuing to walk forward and provide some space for the team. Zyno throws a couple basics out, but can't find too much damage. Looks like that's going to be all the action for now, but Gold Fury going to Single Bind. That's their third of the game.
So with that third Gold Fury, they're going to be able to deal extra damage to tower structures and jungle bosses. Already a team that was able to burn and confirm these massive objectives like Gold Fury Pyro will be able to do the same to the Fire Giant that has also hit the field now as well. And with these pushers, they'll be able to control the space on the map to more effectively have that on lockdown. And what's crazy too is that their team fight around these objectives are already so good. Giant Circle Cupid, Giant Circle Vulcan. Remakami is so annoying to a character like Neith and Apollo and everybody from Mushroom Kingdom because of the AoE cripple, and Aurora's been doing a wonderful job setting up for the rest of the team. So Mushroom Kingdom are in a dire straits at this point. They gotta find a pick and take the 4v5.
FG is getting burned, and chipping away at it is Sino. 3 members are distracting. Aurora is able to get taken down. Port Degree gets the kill. Onto the powwow is a Rabbit looking for members to take down. Donut Doug is not in trouble. Kills a Rabbit as soon as they fall from the totem pole and goes straight into the back line, but leaps back one moment. Remakami looking for a stun, looking to lock down somebody, but on the left side of the jungle, Koja Fox gets stunned by the heart bomb and killed right after. Another kill for Sino. 2 dead members of Mushroom Kingdom make it 3. Mario Bros goes dead to Moswall. Port Degree sent back to base, and Chang'e sent packing as well. All 5 members of Mushroom Kingdom have been eliminated from the fight, and the Fire Giant will go the way of single bind.
The whole time this is happening, 2 single binds lane pushers are about to cause havoc on the tier 2s that are remaining for Mushroom Kingdom. Looks like the dagger went the way of Donut Doug, so this Jingwei will have even more space to play with. Looks like single blind weren't able to take any tier 2s off of the pushers, but nope, never mind, there it is, the left side. Burned away some extra gold there for single bind, and with this FG power play, they can very easily take a look at the right or mid T2. Mushroom Kingdom, they were able to completely blow up Aurora when Aurora made that initiation, but there's something to be said for the easily applied damage of Moswall, even Donut Doug with the AoE autos, just dealing a bunch of crit damage. Nobody has Spectral, so nobody can stand up to the Jingwei. Somebody got Naja ulted, and they're gonna die when they land, right? Yeah, Port Degree's dead, so be it. And now, single bind, without having to worry about the solo laner of Mushroom Kingdom, don't really have too much standing in their way to clean up the towers and maybe even a bird.
This could be bird potential. Tier 2 tower in right lane falls. Sino eliminates it quickly. Mario Bro hiding under the tower on the right side, but Moswall in mid. Aurora's up in the left. No bird is safe. And Sino hits the go button, feels the love thrown down, and Ramakami dashes forward as well. But a big taunt, confound from Koja Fox will stop Sino for a moment. Go back, heal, and then go straight forward. Aurora distracting on the left side, but everybody's looking at Ramakami. Moswall kills Koja Fox in the process. Down goes one. Mario Bro extremely low and went back to the fountain. The right side bird falls. Donut Doug on the mid lane bird. That falls as well. Now they make their way towards the left side bird. Aurora is taking it away. The rest of single bind are looking at it. Mushroom Kingdom still down 1. Koja Fox has 10 seconds before the respawn. Gray screen still on their monitor. The rest of single bind take down the bird. All 3 birds dead for Mushroom Kingdom. Their Titan has never been more exposed.
And this is all before Ancient Gold Fury even has an opportunity to spawn. Single bind did that with the birds all at their full strength. I think it really goes to show just how devastating their lead is at this point in time. And they're gonna have even more power spikes to hit after they back. They just took down what, a T2, 2 T2s, and then 3 birds. That's an item. Everybody's about to back and get some crazy stuff here. I'm waiting for Donut Doug to get their Titans Bane. You thought this Jingwei was swinging before. Oh my gosh, you have not seen anything yet, my friend. And I'm telling you, Mushroom Kingdom, still no spectral armor to be seen. And this Jingwei, even if you had it, I don't know how much it would help you at this point, but you gotta get something to try to help your team out.
Chariot ready. Hopping in, Koja Fox barely able to escape, hops in the back of the whip and says, let's get out of here. Ramakami looking to cut them off in the jungle, but continuing the ride down lane and back to the safety behind. Port Degree would finally land back down. Feels the love thrown down, but a beads forced away from Port Degree, followed by the heart bomb. Decent damage coming through from Sino. Takes Port Degree down to half health. What will happen right after? Ramakami looking for a route, a backflip to follow. Donut Doug dashes forward. Single bind looking to end here.
The Donut Doug has Fire Giant, 30 seconds left, Powwow from the dodgy, but Rabbids has already got to get out there. If Mushroom Kingdom can hold on for 20 seconds, they can win this fight.
Windfire Wheels takes Koja for a ride. Down goes Koja, and a massive Earth Shaker nukes their health bar. Now we look for the Titan. Mushroom Kingdom still have 4 members left to defend. Mario Bro can do all they can, but Donut Doug melts 1 in the process. Mario Bro just killed Donut Doug. That's an eye for an eye so far, but the Titan is the main priority. It's down to 1,000, and it's melted immediately. Single blind, get game 1.
I mean, there was a chance there for Mushroom Kingdom to be able to turn that around. FG was just about to run out, but unfortunately, no such reservations for single bind. They knew that they wanted to end the game. Phoenixes are down. There's no point in waiting. They hold on to the gas pedal and push it all the way through that game 1 victory. And I gotta say, that was gross. That Cupid jungle doing what it did to help this team through the early and the mid game by being able to just near solo so many objectives. Ella Langley fan, the Fields of Love on a stick, like, it was really good pretty much throughout the whole game. Although Mushroom Kingdom did look really solid in the beginning, Rabbit especially. definitely a player that I'm keeping my eyes on to make plays for the Mushroom Kingdom team, but at some point, it just became too much for them, and Single Bind turned it around.
Yeah, exactly. And the macro play, like you said, from Sino, just you're able to get so many objectives so quickly with that build. I was a little bit of I was judgmental. I was a judgmental Judy for a moment with the Avenging Blade pickup. Thought, okay, it's interesting, but you know what? It worked out. You snuck objectives. Mushroom Kingdom. I feel like Single Bind watched their matchup against Hold That, and Mushroom Kingdom showed their weakness with macro play. Single Bind said, okay, let's milk that weakness for what it's worth. Let's grab every objective before 15 minutes and set Mushroom Kingdom behind so far that they cannot come back. And that's kind of what happened.
Donut Doug as well, really showing up with this Jingwei pick. I mean, when you don't have Honor, Honor was up and available, but when Jingwei's good, she's great. Shout out to a little combo there between Aurora and Moswall. Good stuff all around from Single Bind. Just being able to hit their power spike and the fact that there was no Spectral to answer for it, I feel like Donut Doug never really got looked at. I mean, they were dashing in on fights, and everybody just kind of ran from them instead of going, well, wait a minute, can we CC her? Can we do anything? The answer is no. She just kind of killed her. Just like that. 2 crits in a row. All skill, by the way.
Very high skill god. Like left click crit does 2 basics and away goes your health bar. Sino, a much more high skill god. Cupid, you have to land a lot more basics with that.
Yeah, you have to hit a giant circle, and then that's kind of tough to do sometimes.
True. Fields of Love.
Couple of tank
you got to
players.
know what to do after that. Yeah, tank players, am I right?
Up top. But it's good game 1 here from Single Blind, but I know Mushroom Kingdom has it in them to take us to a game 3. Just got to find something that works best for them. They are more than the Yamoja cheese. They would not have made it this far otherwise. So, very excited to see what else they can cook up for us.
Reminder that all 10 gods you see on screen will not be in games 2 or 3. That the Vault bans will not let that happen. None whatsoever. So, we won't see the Jingwei back. Thank goodness. I'm tired of seeing Jingwei today. We won't see Vulcan back again, so no more combos with that. Nija's off the table. You don't have to worry about that during bans. And Sino's going to have to come up with a new non-assassin pick for the jungle.
It'll be interesting to see what they have ready for us. But as far as for what we have for you, well, we'll have some more in just a little bit. We'll run a couple ads, take a quick sip of water, and we'll have game 2 ready for you in just a little bit.
Good afternoon, Smite Game Chat. We're here with Smite Prime, Week 2, Grand Finals, here right now. Game 2 is coming at you here in just a moment. Single Bind up against the Mushroom Kingdom. You're looking at Morty. We've got the whole Prime crew behind the scenes. Jithens, Solstice, Testai, and with me here in the booth, none other than Musi.
Woo! I didn't have a funny thing this go around. I'm sorry, more.
It's all right. You gave it your best shot. I know you tried.
I gave him my best shot. I gotta tell you, the jacket came off, right? It's getting heated in
That's
here.
fine.
It's the fire, the passion between these two teams. Single bind to put Mushroom Kingdom in a bind. That is to be sure, but we know that Mushroom Kingdom has some extra spicy sauce that they keep way in the back of the cupboard when special guests arrive. So I'm curious to see how they're able to handle this game 2. Their Single Bind is very excited to try to put themselves in an even stronger position so that they can play in week 4 for that $7,000.
I'm excited to see as, we've got 2 big upsets, right? I mean, usually we're here watching Clocked In versus Witchcraft, Clocked In versus Hold That, Hold That versus Clocked In. But we've got not 1, but 2 different teams as Clocked In didn't show up today after their, butt whooping last week. And, as we go on to picks and bans, Hold That got knocked out early by Mushroom Kingdom. Mushroom Kingdom beat Hold That with Aspect Yamoja mid. Let's keep that in mind as we take a look at the picks and bans coming at you live right here, right now.
So, Mushroom Kingdom do have their first pick here. Single Bind. I think they banned the Yamoja again, if I'm being honest. I mean, Chang'e Best looked so good on that pick in the last game. That's not something you really want to play against, and just take it off the board. We know Pele more than likely won't have a chance to see the sun pretty much ever again. And the new one makes a lot of sense as well. So that gives us some time to think about what else can filter through the cracks. If I'm not mistaken, Hercules had a chance to get through but wasn't picked. So it makes me think that it's just not as worthwhile of a pick to have in your back pocket. But we do still things have like the Merlin, the Discordia, the Hecate for the mid laners to be able to play with, because last time it was Vulcan and Neath. So I feel like there's still a lot of top picks to contend for here.
Yeah, Merlin definitely can be looked at. There's Newt, Princess Bari. I mean, there's a lot of picks that, can be looked at that aren't picked up just yet. But something tells me that Chang'e will throw us a curveball yet again. I don't think it's the last time that we'll see the Yamoja aspect today, right? Or maybe it is, and we'll see something funky. Maybe we'll see Tsukiyomi mid, or maybe we'll see Khepri mid, Khepri mage. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there, right? Throwing anything at the wall, seeing what it sticks. Probably not Bulb.
Who knows?
Probably not. Yeah, you never know. I mean, never know.
Well, the Yemo gets through. Does Mushroom Kingdom first pick it? No. Honor. That makes a lot of sense. Honor's just a very safe pick and probably one of the best hunters that's still available after you get rid of Apollo and Jing Wei. Kind of means that single bind is left to look at something along the lines of Medusa, Denzaburo. Rama is probably the first one that I would be reaching towards in a moment like this, just because he's got an attack speed stim, and that's really good for shredding down objectives. But maybe Artemis to help with dive. Feels like there's just, with the absence of Geb ADC aspect, there's not that much that you really want to look for anymore.
Please don't bring him up. I can't emotionally handle this. Medusa. Okay. So this is nice. Like you said, I mean, this is good setup, right? Petrify is a pretty solid engage should it land. Granted, there's a lot of things that could go wrong. If you're relying specifically on Petrify, there's crowd control immunities of all types. Or you could just look the other way. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just whatever. Yeah, just turn around. Oh!
Medusa does get cooked by walls. And we are back. Mushroom
We're so
Kingdom.
back, Chad.
Trying to tie this set up. Single bind is one game over Mushroom Kingdom at this point in time. But with some saucy picks here, Mushroom Kingdom want to turn it into that 1-1 that they so desperately desire. The ESET versus Scylla support v support kind of takes me back a couple of patches ago where we used to see that a lot more often.
Nah, we're throwing picks out here. Ra, and for the first time on a Smite Prime broadcast, Gilgamesh being hovered. And this could change things up quite a bit because maybe we're missing that engage, right? But we've sure got damage to boot. Scylla aspect support is like one of the most hard-hitting supports in the game, right? Medusa, incredibly high burst damage, and you can't talk about burst damage at all without mentioning Ra, right? Hyper beam combo with any type of setup is just so strong. And then Gilgamesh with the aspect, the burn does so much. And Achilles to follow. That team comp looks nasty. But Yamoja mid, all hail, the Yamoja mid is back. Kabrakan to join the battle for solo lane. And then you've got Kali in the jungle. This is hype.
I'm kind of stoked. I mean, Mushroom Kingdom have that choice that you need to make. Shell or Aegis. Or even beads, to a degree, if you're thinking about what ESET and Kabrakan can do, if they can land on top of you. But they do very much so force the Shell. Kabrakan walls and Yamoja walls play very well into Medusa, into Ra, and into Achilles. So Mushroom Kingdom's teamfight could look good there if they can find and isolate somebody out there. But single bind, like you said, a lot of setup and a lot of damage.
Well, let's see if single bind can set up a win and eliminate the chances of a game 3, or will Mushroom Kingdom bring us back for more? We'll find out right here, right now. Game starting. The grand finals of week 2 of the April circuit. Morty on the mic, joined by Musi in the booth. We've got Testai, Solstice, and Jithens behind the scenes to make this game happen. And now that we've got our aces in our places, take a look here, Musi. What do we see?
aspect down for Yemoja mid. There it is for Chunga best. So I'll be interested to see if they can repeat the magic that we saw before shells on Remikami and on Aurora, not on the Ra. So if we can get an early Emoja wall and lock the Ra in place, could look pretty good. Uh-oh. Gank squad.
Oh! Remikami, you gotta get out of there. A
Oh!
5-man shield bash. Moonstrike off the mark. And a 1 over the wall, but it won't save Remikami's life. But man, it was close. I don't think I've ever seen a 5-man stun with shield bash from Achilles. That was kind of crazy.
I would have let him go. If you have 5-man steel shield bash, you're walking away. I'm letting you have it. I'm just like, hey, you got it, bro. No worries. Look at that player damage. 487, top of the charts. Remikami. Bada bing, bada boom. When it comes to the lane matchups between a couple of these characters here, Achilles and Kabrakan. You'll notice Port Degree did have to get the Aegis in order to deal with the Achilles execute. And I feel like, oh, sweet. I didn't know we could do this.
No!
Look at this. Boom! Everybody's stunned. It doesn't matter, but it's
Wow.
still hype anyways. W technology. I didn't know we could do that. That's cool. What?
No. First time on
How long
Smite
have you been
Prime,
able-
replays live game. That was so sick. Jith is just playing around with tech right now. That was wild. That was very nice.
But Port Degree versus Remikami, the Kabrakan and the Achilles, I feel like now that Wormskin Hide isn't as good as it used to be, Port Degree can get the Bladed Boomerang online and get a bunch of damage through. I don't think Kabrakan cares too much about the Bumba's cudgel nerfs, the small amount of cooldowns that were taken off of everything, just because you are building so much cooldown anyways, you're not really relying on the cudgel to make that happen. So as long as Port Degree keeps their Aegis up for the Achilles execute, should be pretty good, especially if he gets the ult to lock it in.
I really like this this E-set pick here from Kojo because that works really well with the Honor. Right now, one thing we saw earlier on when Dardas picked up Serve with Smoke Break, you saw the Paralyzing Spit and then a pillar right behind the Stun God and then an Impale into that pillar. And we'll see a somewhat similar setup here in Dual Lane with the Spirit Bomb stun and then a pillar right to follow. I think this could really work well, but what not might work so well is Sino on this Gilg pick diving straight into the jungle and almost took down a rabbit but couldn't quite find the kill, instead runs with their life. And we're heading over to the mid lane to try and maybe find a kill on Sino. Kojo Fox a little outnumbered and only level 2. Moonstrike off the mark, gets drop kicked into a wall instead. Hey, crowd control is crowd control. I'll take it. First blood, well, I guess second blood going their way.
Man, what a visual, drop kicking an E-set into a wall. Gilgamesh is such a fun god to watch in action, and even more fun to think about what they're capable of doing. Now that he, had some changes pushed through to make him a little bit stronger, I do feel that he can find a lot of value in hitting the right targets. E-set especially, I think, is going to struggle against this Gilgamesh because she doesn't really have a great way around what he does. But overall, when we talk about the E-set, we talk about the On Her together. I'm right there with you more. Chaining the CCs together, Spirit Ball, Pin combo. Mushroom Kingdom's dual lane is on paper and in practice stronger than single lanes.
But Mushroom Kingdom's solo lane is in trouble. A great stun off the shield bash, followed by a drop kick into the wall. Port Degree couldn't get back to the tower. Instead, tries to escape through another way. Maybe the movement speed boost will save your life here. Maybe a rabbit around the corner can find a revenge kill. Stun off the mark. But good news, Port Degree is okay for now.
Moswell could be heard ulting the Firebrands. And honestly, I respect
Fine.
it. Good stuff. Might as well clear it. Hey, who's going to come and help you with it? Nobody. The solos and junglers are busy playing Ring Around the Rosie, so got the damage to do it, confirm it, walk away. Port Degree living there was kind of impressive to me as well. Just goes to show that the Kabrakan survivability factor is just way up there when they have the movement speed and the passive mitigations.
Yeah. Wait, Fatal? No. Woohoo! The fake out there, you saw that.
Right tower is under
Yeah.
Well, the Aegis is actually down. He wanted Port Degree to get a little bit closer, but Port Degree steps behind the tower, and unfortunately, that Achilles ultimate does not wrap around towers too well. You just end up doinking on it, so not a great spot.
Is what it is. But I like the play there. If Aegis was up and I was Kabrakan there, I'd have Aegis every day of the week. There's not a single day where I wouldn't have Aegis.
Achilles' ultimate should be on a shorter cooldown than Aegis as well, especially if Ramakami's able to get just a smidgen of cooldown in their build. So it could put the Kabrakan in some dangerous spot if he plays Aegis Chicken 1 times too many, but once Port Degree hits 5, it's going to be Ramakami that could be forced into a tough spot. He's got the shell, but Port Degree with the CC chain combos and just the raw damage from the ultimate could put this Achilles in a very difficult situation.
Ramakami, the gold medalist of Aegis Chicken, with this Achilles pick. The gold medalist at the Smite Prime Olympics. Able to get Aegis better than any other player in Smite Prime. I'm a monster. Utilize. This could pull an Aegis if anybody over there had one. Mario Bro does have it online, but doesn't feel the need to use it. Instead, a quick backpedal will get you out of range. But look who just showed up. Rabbit's here for a kill. Donut Doug over the wall next to the camp. The neutral farm does find a stun. You just got to body block the lacerate. Turn around for a petrified Desert Fury in response. Sino just showed up and tried to drop kick Mario Bro into the wall, and it worked out well. Mario Bro's dead. Koja Fox on the run, and the winds of Shamash thrown down. Koja Fox locked in place, throws a spirit ball over the wall, trying to find a stun, but it doesn't work out. Can we find a kill? Rabbit takes down one, hits the ult for invincibility, but dropkick back into a wall. Sino's on a killing spree. Down goes Rabbit, and Gold Fury's getting looked at.
That's what I mean when I say this Iset doesn't have a great answer to the Gilgamesh, right? He jumps in and Iset kind of goes, Spirit Ball? Sidehouse says, I don't care. What? Get drop kicked, loser. Against the wall they go. Damage is good. And because you have this Gilga with the Boombas and this Manchu bow, this is an early Gold Fury pull. Raw ult to confirm it. Looks good for Bind.
Enemy team has destroyed the
Nice.
Gold Fury.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Mario Bro was there, but didn't have a Desert Fury to use because it was used to counter Petrify in that earlier skirmish. So no really real way to counterplay. Maybe you throw an Impale, or maybe we throw Rivers of Butte down here in mid lane because Chang'e was trying to get this kill on Mazball, but couldn't find the lockdown. Ramakami showed up to counter that play and put some damage onto Chang'e, force the Riptide away. And now Chang'e has to hide back into the jungle. Rabbit's going to walk forward and maybe take that red buff, which is the smartest thing Rabbit can do. Finding a kill is going to be hard here unless I'm a Monster is utilized. Hiding into the tower, crowd control immunity. Good damage coming through for Chang'e. Goodness, that's a lot of damage from the Moonstrike.
Yeah. And we know what this Umoja mid can do. And we know that it's just a couple items away from being truly devastational. Spirit Desolation around the corner for Shung at best. But what about the other builds? What about the other characters? We see again the Daybreak Gavel for Rabbit, and we know that they're going to have some Echo and some Crit around the corner too. So Rabbit on this Kali pick, we know what the capability there is and how much damage it can do. It's just got to get across the finish line there. But this time it's Sino who has a better start than him.
Great crowd control thrown onto Mazball in mid lane. Ramakami is the round, but can't find. Oh my God! Chang'e took down Mazball from the dot. Good lord, this Umoja pick is strong as ever. The mid lane pad still being fought over. 3-on-2. Mushroom Kingdom have the man advantage, but nobody feels comfortable walking forward just yet. I'm a monster, force away, good damage, thrown down, wins a Shamash in response to at least lock Mushroom Kingdom down, but Sino's able to get the kill. Rabbit is dead, and a circle of protections to follow through. Spirit Bomb to follow. Just a lot of skirmishing, a lot of abilities being thrown around. It did end with the dead Rabbit, but the mid lane beacon still being fought over.
Single Bind will have advantage over this Ritual State here as Aurora dashes in, looking for the root on top of Shugga Best. Is not able to land it, and then the River's Rebuke goes up. Aurora gonna get pounced on and destroyed by the Rivers, but Single Bind walk away with the Ritual, so feels like Single Bind are gonna feel a little bit better about that trade out. Aurora, knowing that he had to make space for the team, dashes in there, keeps the distraction game up, so that Single Bind can get what they need.
And look at Ramakami putting damage on the Port Degree. Pendy Blade to turn things around. Both solo laners have health, but execution online as well as a wall for Port. So how that goes, we'll check back in a bit. Mid lane beacon did go down, and Firebrands will be up in a minute here. Gold Fury spawning soon as well. Single Bind did get the first one, and we're kind of circling back to what we saw from last game. Uses that Single Bind just have so much better macro play for the most part. Mushroom Kingdom's biggest weakness is handling these objectives. When do we go to them? How do we burn them? What are the guys that we pick to burn them quick? It seems like all Mushroom Kingdom know how to do is fight. And as much as, you know, kills matter, this ain't Fight Club.
Your right tower is under
Rule number
attack.
1 about Fight Club. We're not even supposed to talk about Fight Club. Speaking of Fight Club,
Whoops.
Stampede in from the E set, chase after the Scylla who has to ult away, but Donut Doug is the target.
Screw Fight Club. We're going for Kill Club. Donut Doug's in trouble, but Lacerate forward right onto Mario Bro, looking for one last kill before Donut Doug falls, but Lacerate won't deal enough. Mario Bro's okay, but around still is Aurora. Found a stun, followed by the bleed. Good damage thrown through from Rabid, but we're going to have to back off afterwards. Can't find too much, so instead we'll just grab some camps and call it a day.
Your right tower
I want to take a look
is
at the
under
build here
attack.
for this Gilgamesh jungle. We don't get a chance to see it too often. Actually, speaking of Gilgamesh jungle, Sino, waiting around this blue buff, trying to
left
bait Port
tower
Degree
is
in.
under
Can you
attack.
go for this dive?
No, they're going to take the tower first. They take the tower first, and then they go for the dive. But look at Koja Fox. Then they'll come back and look at Port Degree. Dropkick into the wall. Rebekami to follow as well. The Winds of Shamash thrown down. Execution ready. Is it needed? Aegis forced out, but that's fine. We can still get the kill off the one. Sino makes sure that Port Degree's dead. And the Gold Fury's getting looked at by Mushroom Kingdom. It's at half health. Rivers of Buke is down. And Donut Doug needs to get out of there. Lacerate away. I'm a monster ready. Riptide to follow.
Oh.
Moonstrike to follow through as well. Mario Bros secures the Gold Fury. A great play. Even with multiple objective steal opportunities, Single Bind couldn't get it done. Mushroom Kingdom pick up a gold. Chang'e Best running for their life. Through the Riptide, speed boost away. Rebekami still on the chase. A crush thrown out and barely picks up Chang'e's life. A great response. And, you know, unfortunately, it's only one kill for a gold, but again, you lose somebody for the Gold Fury. Usually it supports, but you might just traditionally support anyway. Koja Fox, no!
Oh, Stampede to get away. Koja Fox is okay. Mario Bro now looks for the pin on top of Aurora. The damage is good. The follow-up, not quite there, though.
Your
Aurora is
middle
able to
tower
dash
is
out.
under attack.
Mushroom Kingdom. We talked about how maybe they're not the best around objectives. Oh, hold that thought.
Oh my god, Rabid, please. You gotta get out of there. Jump away, do something but a shield bash stun and a basic to follow. Rabid's dead. Great kill for Rebekami.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Not too shabby. Looks like Single Bind will take that and turn it into a Pyromancer pull. And again,
Yep.
Sino. Really making this Gilgamesh look like an all-star here. Moswell gets the last hit, and Aurora is back in the mix to find more damage.
I'm a monster, utilized, looking for some poke, but instead it's just crowd control immunity, if anything, to make sure that Aurora doesn't get picked off. But a Spirit Bomb followed by the Moonstrike, and Wind Gust does a lot of damage onto Aurora, but not enough for a kill. Rebekami says, that's fine. Thanks for the distraction, fellas. I'm just going to get this Firebrand and then walk back to lane and kill Port Degree, probably.
Poor Port Degree. Well, actually, is he under duress? 2 levels down, and Rebekami is making it look pretty easy, but they seem to be trading all right so far. Well, Rebekami will likely have to back up because they have no mana.
Yeah, that's just the unfortunate part of it. Blue buff is up for Rebekami to go take, but without blue buff, I mean, you're going to run out of mana really quickly. Even with, you know, a mana item under your belt, which Single Bind's solo laner Rebekami does not have, it's going to be hard. Oh, a blink forward, followed by the stun, petrify, use, and Lacerate couldn't be, barely gets by Rabid to use Lacerate and hide under the tower. Mario Bro and Rabid walking forward, zoning away. So, you know what? We might not have gotten the kill, but at least we can get the tower, or so they thought.
Oh.
Around the corners, Aurora with a great root and a crush to follow. Aurora's got damage. Mario Bro jumps over and shrieks Aurora like a Goomba, but this Goomba cannot be ignored. The Goomba comes out on top for the first time in an entire series, but look at Rabid, throws the damage out straight for Donut Doug, but Rabid falls right after. A great rotation as Koja shuts down Sino. What in the world?
Good bait and switch there from Single Bind. I appreciate the fact that Donut Doug played it entirely safe. To just back up and don't give Mushroom Kingdom the kill on top of you, and still being willing to show up to the fight afterwards, knowing that you have the safety of your teammates around the corner. Looked like Sino was going for a cheeky play when he died, but hey, if anything, it keeps the distractions of Mushroom Kingdom in check so that it's only Rabbit that comes to the aid of their friend. So now, coming to the point where Moonlight Queen Naga is spawning. This game so far, very much favoring single bind, but if Mushroom Kingdom can find a good fight around this Moonlight Queen Naga and find some kills so that they can safely take that objective, they can easily turn this game on its head. But the question becomes, how do you do that? Is it killing Ramakami? Because that looks kind of... Oh.
Ooh. Oh, dash around. Oh, the juice shoes.
Very
They fit
nice.
well. Great job, Port Degree. It's a smack on the butt on the way to the locker room. That was a very nice play there, fella. I like that. But unfortunately, now you've got a lot more to worry about than just saving your own life. You got to save the life of the Queen Naga, or I guess take it of your own, or the Gold Fury, or the Pyromancer, about to spawn. The 15-minute mark that we love to talk about, Newsy, where objectives are on the horizon, but single bind going for kills beforehand, looking for Chang'e in the mid lane. A great stun through the shield bash does massive damage. Down goes Chang'e. Rabbit extremely low, forced to use the ult for invincibility, but Aurora chasing down a Rabbit. Jump over the wall. Can we find a crush? Aurora's still going for this kill. Look at Aurora.
You're Scylla. All you gotta do is hit the root. We missed the root. All right, all you gotta do is hit the crush. Well, we missed the crush.
two.
So,
Dang.
all we gotta do now is try to get out and escape.
Run.
Gulp.
Locked
He's
it.
out.
Oh, but barely gets over the wall. That was crazy. Rat gameplay will let you get squished like a rat if you're not careful enough. Hide between the walls and maybe you can make something happen. Look at where Aurora is still. Aurora is just not letting off the gas pedal. I'm going to distract. I'm going to do something while the rest of the team pulls the pyro. Queen Naga got burned that whole time, too. Queen Naga was taken by
Yes.
single bind and the Pyromancer. What?
Yep. And they will hold on to their Star Strike ritual the whole while, so we'll have that to pop in the next team fight, or if we want to try to quick burn an FG or a Gold Fury. But with the mid pad spawning here soon, single bind want to group up and take this next so that they can get a good step forward for the next play to make on the map. And they're pretty big, so they can take any fight they want.
The Moonlight's ritual is sought after by both teams, but single bind have the upper hand for now. Mario Bro, Donut Doug, duking it out. Desert Fury thrown and almost dealt enough damage, but one more spear would have found the kill, but instead that spear missed. Donut Doug lives, but fighting here in mid, in big trouble is Ramakami. Soaks up a lot of damage though. The pad still being sought after. Mushroom Kingdom still have time to maybe get enough rocks to make the Moonlight ritual favor them. Koja Fox looking for a stun onto Sino. Rivers of Butte to follow down. Chang'e Best in real big trouble. Rabbit as well. Almost forced to ult. And the pad is just such a big priority here. But single bind want to find a kill in the process. Ults down from Rabbit. Turn things around and try and take down Sino. But Sino just can't find the kill there. But Mozball takes down Mario Bro in mid. Koja Fox in trouble. Trying to juke away from the Scylla. Wing Gust won't do much. But Chang'e falls again. Mozball gets another kill through Celestial Beam. Huge damage from Mozball there. And the beacon has been completely forgotten about. Do single bind go for FG?
They could go for the FG as long as they leave the beacon as it is. They will end up winning it. And they've got the burn to do this FG. The question is, do they have the tank to do it? Now that Aurora shows up, they should be able to tank it. Donut Dog's pretty low. Rabbit could come in behind and cause a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I could be an issue, but I guess with low health bars that single bind have, they don't feel comfortable securing it. Pyromancer not up just yet. FG can't be pulled, and Gold Fury's on the other side of the map. What do you want us to do? Walk all the way over there? 18 minutes into the game, 7-14, and an 8K gold lead for single bind. Along with that 5K gold lead, things are on the up and up for single bind.
I'm a monster forced down.
No, and the wall was thrown down, but it didn't quite find the block that was needed. And look at Port Degree zoning in the front line. I'm a monster over the wall. Aurora's got damage and forced away. Mushroom Kingdom. Chang'e Best hiding behind Koja Fox, and Rabbit can't find a way into the fight, so we'll have to let them go. Single bind, rotate towards Gold Fury, lacerate through the bush, and down goes Koja Fox, picked off by a very quick burst. Rabbit jumps into the fight, but will you be taken down down? No, the invincibility will save your life. And the Rivers of Youth to follow through. Chang'e Best just did a great job saving Gravis' life, but can you save your own? No, you can't. Chang'e Best is dead. Mario Bro disperse over the wall. Meanwhile, all the time, Sino takes down the Gold Fury, and yet again, Single Bind's front line is distracting, while the back line melts away the objective.
We are starting to see the cracks in the Mushroom Kingdom composition so far. The Emoja mid, very hype, very cool, a little cheesy, single bind, lactose intolerant. They don't consume it, they don't interact with it, they do not engage with rage bait. Now with this ritual pop, they'll be able to burn through this FG. ESEC can try to steal it, but kind of a foregone conclusion. They get walked away by Remakami. And I think this could be more than just an FG. This could be the loss of your support.
Riptide, Koja Fox barely able to escape, and the Wing Gust to follow will get them back a tad. But the Fox is safe, but not for long. Wins a Shamash, followed by the Circle of Protections. It won't protect you today, though. Down goes Koja, down goes Degree. 2 dead for Mushroom Kingdom. Fire Giant belts around the waist of Single Bind. They're going to march down lane and get this tier 2. Can they get a bird as well? They're going to at least try.
I mean, Mushroom Kingdom did push up the minions in the mid and the left side, so Single Bind is relying on their tanks to be able to soak through the damage. They won't have extra damage to deal to the Phoenixes because of the lack of minions. So Mushroom Kingdom don't have to worry about losing the game off of this necessarily. Knowing that there are still tier 2 towers up on the left and right hand side, Titan will be nice and healthy. Good split push there from Mushroom Kingdom to buy themselves a bit more time. Oh, but I don't know about this.
Hyper Beam off the mark, but that's fine. Sino's gonna get the kill, but Sino falls to Mario Bro through the Desert Fury, and Single Bind walking away. They might have overstayed just a tad, just a hair, because Sino falling there, I don't think that needed to happen, and neither does Aurora needing to fall here, but Aurora will be fine. Dash back to safety and to group up with Remakami. Now we go for more blood. Remakami doesn't care about numbers. The only numbers he cares about is his own damage, and that's what he's dealing onto Rabbit. 4 against Remakami. Who comes out on top? I'm a monster. Does good damage, and Fatal Strike used to escape a great stun from poor lockdown Remakami for a moment. But look over the wall, over the side, and Moswall there, scepter thrown down, does find a root on 2, and an impale from the pillar pin, a great setup from the scepter, and able to turn things around in a really big way. Rabbit gets a shutdown, dead is Moswall. Remakami's in trouble as well, but takes down Mario Bro before they hit the grave. Chang'e gets the kill, another big shutdown for Chang'e, and Mushroom Kingdom could be back in a very big way. Pyromancer could be looked at here.
Scylla still getting chased down by Chang'e Best, but coming in from the left-hand side is that Gilgamesh. Sino has a big rotation to make, but Aurora is already dead.
Wow, a crazy good Rivers Rebuke. Is Chang'e Best Moses? Because splitting the seas that way, I mean, you're saving lives, or I guess getting rid of them in Aurora's case.
Donut Doug, the whole time this happened, is able to get their split push off. So even more damage and the level 20, which is going to be pretty important for their starter item. But again, a Single Bind, we're not 5 strong here, picking fights as if we were, while you are ahead by a pretty significant amount. You can't sleep on the Mushroom Kingdom team, especially now that they're able to hit some pretty solid power spikes. The Ratatouille for Chang'e Best is going to be noteworthy for this Umoja to really get some of their damage across. And we do have penetration available for both Rabbit and Mario Bro. So pair that with the fact that we already have natural prot shred attached to this on her. Remakami specifically maybe won't be as unkillable as they were operating before. Single Bind are going to take it in stride though, looking at that Gold Fury.
Gold Fury is almost down. Mosball secures the gold for Single Bind. That's their 3rd of the game. Remakami finds a shield bash to lock down Rabbit for a second, but Wind Sprite over the wall. Sino's continuing the chase, but they can't find too much after. Looks like Single Bind are marching towards the Titan room. Mosswalk goes for some massive damage and a blink forward, followed by Sino's dropkick, kills Mario Bro. Down 1 member, wins of Shamash in response. Rivers of Buke as well to block off the Titan room corridors for a moment. But Single Bind said, that's fine. We wanted to go to the solo side anyways.
Port Degree walking up, finds the stun on top of Aurora. Now it's just going to try to walk away, but Moswell caught in the back. Shanga Best finds another kill.
Great play there from Chang'e. And a blink forward. Can we find Aurora? Demanding Waters will melt them down. Aurora's dead. Double kill for Chang'e. Port Degree, can you escape? Can you get away? The sun off the mark and the dropkick from the minion, but Rabbit kills Donut Doug and leaps over the wall to escape with their life. Koja Fox, Port Degree, both dead, and Chang'e on the run. Remakami doesn't have the Fatal Strike to utilize, so we'll just give that kill up and maybe find Chang'e later.
Single Bind now in a position where they need to play for the next Fire Giant that's respawning. They were only able to get the tier 2, and it comes at a pretty steep cost when you think about it. Mushroom Kingdom are kicking and crawling their way back into this game from such a steep deficit. But at this stage, as long as you're able to hit your level 20s and get your big power spikes, your penetration online, that's all you really need to stand up to the tanks of Single Bind and also shred away the health bars of the damage carries that they'll have in their back pocket there. Rabbit has been able to weave in and out of these fights and find important picks. Donut Doug dying in that last engagement is especially unfortunate because with the death of that Medusa, Single Bind can't even look at an objective until their whole team comes back. This gives Mushroom Kingdom an opportunity to be the first ones to look at this Fire Giant, and Single Bind is a little ways away to defend.
No, they're there. They're on top of it. I mean, well, Mushroom Kingdom are on top of it. They're on top of FG. They're burning it quick, but they dropped the burn. It's at half health. Single Bind have just gotten here,
Sino
just
behind.
now, and barely killed Port Degree. Look at Sino looking for a flank, and this could be the gank of a lifetime, but waiting, hiding, and waiting for an opportunity. Wins the Shamash, ready, down it goes. Rivers of Butte to follow through. Desert Fury in response, and Sacred Dominion thrown down to buy some time. Fatal Strike lands, and Chang'e dies there. You could turn things around and go for Rabbit. Double kill for Mario Bro. Remakami dashes forward, able to get the double. And a great silence will keep one in place. Rabbit in trouble. Can you find the kill? Triple kill for Remakami Moswell to take down Koja. And that's a deicide. Single Bind taking the dub from there. Oh, they got to get the bird.
Phoenix has been destroyed.
You gotta pick up the Phoenix first, but they will have it at the end of the day and at the end of the game. Maybe you find Port Degree too.
Wow. Incredible.
Cat statting never hurt anybody.
Okay. I mean, look, you know, I expected it to go a different way. There is a world, right, where the FG pull at the very end there when Mushroom Kingdom tried to take it, there's a world where that works out for them. Like, the burn could have happened if they would have been a little bit faster than the objective. They would have put a little bit more prio on it instead of just waiting for Single Bind to show up and focus on the zone. If they would have focused on the burn, maybe they get FG, maybe they run, maybe the game goes a different way. But that world isn't the one that we live in, and Single Bind 2-0 Mushroom Kingdom in the finals of week 2 for Smite Prime. April's week.
I mean, what was interesting too about that last engagement of the game, I guess most noteworthy, is Moswell and Donut Doug were finishing up that Fire Giant the whole way through. It really goes to show that Remakami and Sino were able to make so much space, and Aurora too on the Scylla pick. They're known for the Scylla, and now that maybe some of the other range supports are taking a step back, this Scylla support can take another step forward and just continue to be dominant in that lane.
And it was. It absolutely was. I mean, yeah, sure, we saw some great stuff from Koja Fox and Mario Bro, but once we started seeing more activity from Sino, not just on objectives, but ganks as well, right here especially, that's when we saw so much through the setup, off the roots, from the slow as well, and pure damage from I'm a Monster. That's what this aspect provides. It provides tankiness, setup, and damage.
Really good stuff from Single Bind all throughout this set. Just making sure, I mean, last game it looked like Mushroom Kingdom was able to put them in a bit of a tricky situation, but this time the whole way through, Single Bind was looking very strong, where like Sino was just a menace everywhere that he came into contact with. Donut Doug was making Medusa look very, very good out there, and Remakami on this Achilles pick was nigh unkillable. It took so much to be able to put this Achilles down, and during that time, Boswell and Donut Dog are able to free cast and free auto and just cause all kinds of havoc towards anybody that comes into contact with them. So, very much so well earned from Single Bind so far today, but you gotta give Mushroom Kingdom their laurels. Taking off a game of that Holdus team. Like, it is just insane the progress that they've been able to make. It's just unfortunate that they weren't able to make Lightning strike twice with this Umoja mid.
Yeah, Lightning can, it's hard to make it strike twice, right? And there was, like I said, there's a world where it worked out. I was very high on hopes, especially when you look at player damage. This is not a pick that fell behind or anything. I think that, being on the top half of player damage, above the winning team too, that's something to brag about. That is a very big brag to have for Chang'e. I am not, if I'm any member, if I'm Kojo Mario Bro, it is going to be really hard to look at Chang'e and say, you were the problem. This is you're why we didn't win. You know what I mean? Obviously, everybody's made mistakes and nobody's perfect, but for sure, this was a contributing pick that I was very happy to see show up in this game too.
I think there's a chance we could see a little bit more of it in the future, especially now knowing that it is an active element out there to consider, and especially when you think about these game 2, game 3 scenarios where we go to a best of 3 instead of a best of 1, having a Umoja aspect mid in your back pocket is enough to really rattle the other team and make them think twice about engagement. So I think it's just really cool that we got to see it at all.
Oh yeah, no, it is definitely. I love a change of scenery, and Mushroom Kingdom have given us exactly that. So thank you, Mushroom Kingdom, for putting your best foot forward, and thank you to Single Bind for doing what y'all do and giving us an upset that we haven't seen in quite some time. But before we go for today, let's take a look at what all these players are fighting for. What's this big deal? What's this all about? It's the grand prize of $7,000 USD that'll be fought over throughout the month. The 4th, 11th, and the 18th are all open bracket for any team that wants to sign up and qualify for the 25th. The week 4 closed bracket will certify that the top 8 teams can fight for a chance to win for $7,000. We also have an art shop. If you are interested in anything like that, we've got the brackets. Sorry. I went out of order there, Tess. My apologies. The brackets is all the teams that we fought over for today, who showed up and who put their best leg into the ring and tried to take down one or the other. It was an interesting bracket today, Musi.
Yeah, I mean, we got to see some games that didn't go the way that we initially thought they would. Mushroom Kingdom takes one over Hold That. Seeing Hold That in the 3rd place match versus Mind the Gap as well. It's kind of interesting how that was able to shake down. And also being able to chance to see some of the newer names. Oni Warriors, the fact that they also lost to Mushroom Kingdom, knowing that roster is also a little stacked, I think just goes to show that Mushroom Kingdom have got some stuff that they can really succeed with and be even more competitive in the coming weeks.
One more thing before we go. The art shop. Sorry, I jumped the gun. I got excited when thinking about, the Horus Tumbler.
You thinking about the Horus Tumbler. Yeah.
Not just that. We've got a lot more. We've got posters. We've got mouse pads. We've got phone cases, pillows, anything you could need. And the Horus Tumbler. All at shop.smiteprime.com.
Oh,
you can go on there and use code SMITE to get 10% off the shop to support Smite Prime and your local artists around the Smite community. That being said, I believe that's all we got, Muse.
Yeah, I mean, I think we pretty much covered it. Had a whole week of Smite Prime. Talked about the Horus Tumbler. We talked about the Horus Tumbler.
That's about it.
We talked about the Horus Tumbler. Yeah, no, I think that.
I'm going to cut you off before you.
Yeah.
you're going to get carried away here. Thank you to everybody for Smite Prime making this whole thing happen. Thank you, Muser, for joining me here in the booth. And most importantly, thank you to every single viewer at home. If you were a fan of what you saw, we'll be back next Saturday at noon Eastern right here on the Smite Game Twitch. If you're a fan of Smite Competitive, me and Musi both, we'll be back here tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern for Olympus Smite League. You do not want to miss it. Take it easy, gamers.